It's been a cold and snowy winter up north, but the signs of spring are here. In beautiful, sunny Dunedin, Florida, the spring training schedule begins for the Blue Jays against an AL East rival. Grapefruit action welcomes the AL East champs from last year, the New York Yankees, to TD Ballpark. Hi, everyone, and welcome inside TD Ballpark in Dunedin. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Buck Martinez. Hazel May is down on the field. And like you just saw there, a lot going on in the Blue Jays offseason. What makes you optimistic about some of the Blue Jays moves, Buck?
Well, Ben, first and foremost, they have to improve from a 74-win season a year ago. And they've made some moves that make you believe they can be better. There's a lot of ground to make up, but when you look at the offseason additions, Anthony Santander signed as a free agent. He provides power that's been missing, 44 home runs a year ago. Andres Gimenez, a three-time Gold Glover, but a couple of years ago, he hit .297 and was sixth in the MVP voting in the American League. What can you say about Max Scherzer? When he's healthy, he's one of the best pitchers in the game. His intensity has been off the charts so far this spring. And former Blue Jay #1 pick Jeff Hoffman is back with the Blue Jays, a 3-year contract to serve as the closer. He's thrown great so far this spring. And how about Jimmy Garcia coming back? Garcia won 163 games, pitched 163 games for the Blue Jays over 3 seasons. So it's like these guys have really stepped in and fit very quickly in their return to the Blue Jays. Everybody's optimistic this time of the year, but watching Max Scherzer pitch has got everybody locked in. They think they can make some noise in the East this year.
And we will get to see Andres Gimenez start today at second base. But for more on the starting first baseman today, let's go to Hazel May with the big story.
Yeah, guys, unless you've been under a rock, you know the Blue Jays and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. did not come to an agreement on a contract extension prior to Guerrero's Monday night deadline. And I asked Guerrero what the sticking point in the negotiations was, and this is what he told me. He said they had their numbers and I had my numbers. He went on to say, listen, I want to be here. I want to be a Blue Jay for the rest of my career, but it's free agency. It's business. So I'm going to have to listen to 29 more teams, and they're going to have to compete. And according to club president Mark Shapiro, the motivation to have Guerrero in the fold remains the same. He said it's still there. As for Guerrero, he has not closed the door entirely. However, he said if there was an offer, in his words, it would be realistic. It would have to be realistic. He said, I love it here. I want to be here, but it's business. So I want to make sure I'm good with that part of it too. Of course, we'll have much more on Guerrero a little later in the broadcast. Guys?
Hazel, definitely something to monitor going forward, but for today, we have a baseball game to focus on and all the familiar faces in Florida. Bo Bichette, Alejandro Kirk, Vladimir Guerrero, George Springer, and a whole lot more when we come back on Sportsnet. Beautiful Dunedin, Florida, the site of the first spring training game of the Blue Jays 2025 Grapefruit League season. The players just getting ready to head out onto the diamond. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Buck Martinez. Hazel May down on the field. And Buck, Whether it's year 1, year 10, or even further, what is the feeling like for a player when they're getting ready to play in the first spring training game?
Well, man, every spring you come to camp anticipating having a good year, and these guys are anxious to play the first game. They're tired of facing their own pitchers in live batting practice. They're tired of doing all the drills. Now, for the first time this spring, they're going to face another team, and of course, it's the New York Yankees. They're going to have to compete with the Yankees all season long. But there's a lot of excitement with this team. We talked about the additions to the ball club, and I think they've all been positive. Everybody seems to have fit right in, and John Snyder and his coaching staff, they're really paying attention to details this spring. They want to improve their base running. They want to improve their defense. They certainly want to improve their offense, and the pitching has to be much better than it was last year. To that end, all of the pitchers have come into camp in great shape. You look at Kevin Gausman, he's put on 30 pounds of muscle. He looks terrific. Chris Bassett is throwing the ball very well. Scherzer looks like he's in World Series form so far this spring. Keep your fingers crossed that he can stay healthy. But John Snyder feels real good about paying attention to the details. He said, we're not going to muscle up on teams. We don't have that kind of offense anymore. But we have to pay attention to the little things that are going to help us win games.
One guy that will be at the center of that is David Popkins, as you see Chris Bassett there, and we'll get a little more on Bassett in a minute. But new hitting coach for the Blue Jays. What's your impression of what maybe has changed from last year to this year?
Well, it's just a new voice, obviously, that Popkins comes from Minnesota, and I asked him about his philosophy. He says, we're going to be versatile. We're going to be able to change up on the fly according to who's pitching against us, according to the situation, what's the score on the scoreboard. And they've gone through so many situational drills in batting practice so far this season that it's encouraging. And, you know, like I said, they're not going to overpower teams in the East. They don't have that kind of offense, but they can't make mistakes on the bases. You can't give teams extra outs on defense, and you have to throw a lot of strikes.
We are just moments away from our first action of Blue Jays baseball in 2025. The Blue Jays charging out onto the field. The Yankees are getting ready as well. And let's take a look at who's going to be in the lineup today for the AL pennant winners last year. The New York Yankees brought a couple guys over that either have a spot or likely have a spot on the Yankees team. Look at Ben Rice at the top of the order there. He's competing for that backup catcher role behind Austin Wells this year. So he's someone that has a lot at stake during the spring, and he'll go up left on left against the Blue Jays starter today. It's Easton Lucas on the mound.
Easton Lucas is very interesting. He's 28 years old, former draft pick of the Miami Marlins out of Pepperdine in California, and he's never really started an awful lot. When you look at his record, he has only pitched in 14 major league games, a combination of 3 different teams. But Pete Walker loves his delivery. He loves his physique. He says he profiles like a starter, and they're going to give him a chance to start. Now, making this team as a starter is going to be very challenging. More than likely, he'll start the season in AAA. But it's something the Blue Jays haven't had for a while. That's depth in their AAA starting rotation.
Lucas absolutely shoved with the Bisons last year in the time that he had there, about 20 innings, and he'll have a pretty good defense to help him behind as well.
Well, they sure do, and Davis Schneider is in left field. He made 73 starts in left field last year. Joey Loperfido starts in center, and Nathan Lucas, he can play all 3. Ernie Clement played a career high in games at third base, 72 starts. Bichette Jimenez up the middle. They're going to be a dynamic double play combination. Andres Jimenez has won 3 Gold Gloves, and he is without many peers in the majors defensively. Vladdy Guerrero over at first, and Alejandro Kirk. He made 89 starts a year ago. John Snyder expects him to start maybe 110, 115. But this guy right here, as you watch him during the course of the season, he's going to remind you of Robbie Alomar.
Watching him take ground balls over the last couple of days, I mean, it's a show. Sometimes that's not the most entertaining thing to watch, but when he's on the field, he's making plays that you just haven't seen before.
Yeah, he's a lot more than just defense, and he can hit, and he's hitting second in the lineup today. Don Mattingly saw him as a young player with the Mets, and Mattingly thinks for sure that he's got a chance to hit. He hit .297 a couple of years ago.
And we're going to talk to him a little bit later in this ballgame. He will join us on the broadcast after he's substituted out. But for now, we get ready for the first pitch of the Blue Jays spring. Ben Rice in the box and Easton Lucas on the mound. Swing and a miss, and the Blue Jays get started the right way. Strike 1.
Well, and that's going to be something Pete Walker wants to see from all of his pitchers, not just the starters, but the relievers as well. Take the advantage. Get the leverage. Pitch ahead.
Lucas has a 4-seamer, cutter, slider, and change. And he's ahead 0-2.
Yeah, the new pitch for him, in his own words, is his slider and his changeup. As a reliever, you can get by with a couple of pitches, but he's added a much better slider, and he's thrown a changeup really for the first time in his career. Something that's really important if you're going to start.
Near miss there for Lucas, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. On the other side, Ben Rice played a handful of games for the Yankees last year, mostly filling in at first, but he's catching today. That's actually his more natural position. Called strike 3. Lucas freezes Rice there with an off-speed pitch, and it's a strikeout to start his start.
Yeah, absolutely, and he wants to be efficient, obviously. When you're pitching as a starter, the more efficient you can be, the deeper into a game you can pitch, and he finishes off Rice with a good breaking ball that catches the outside corner.
Lucas doing a good job of strike throwing early on. Oswaldo Cabrera now up to the plate. Switch hitter takes inside. That pitch unquestionably a ball, but if Cabrera has a question about it, or Kirk or Lucas do, the automated ball and strike system is in play in this game, so players can challenge pitches if they feel that the call was wrong on the field.
Yeah, and it's something that each team has 2 challenges, and if you lose the first challenge, you're down to 1. But if that challenge is successful, you maintain that challenge. So I think you have to be real prudent as far as when you might use it.
Ball on the ground and a diving stop by Vladdy. Throws it to the covering Lucas. Nice play by the Blue Jays for the second out.
We talk about Jimenez with his gold glove. Vladdy's got a gold glove too, and he is one of the best at throwing, whether he's standing on his feet or from his knees, and he throws on the money to Lucas. Look at where he starts. Ranging to his right, Jimenez was up the middle, and Vladdy from one knee throws a strike to Lucas, who had the bag covered. Vladdy can play. He can really play first.
Credit to Lucas, too, reeling that in and getting himself to the bag. 2 quick outs for Easton Lucas with the longtime Met, now with the Yankees in camp, Dominic Smith up to the plate.
Parts of 8 seasons in the big leagues, and it's been a struggle for him the last couple of years. Former #1 pick of the Mets.
Spent most of last season with the Red Sox, had a small cameo with the Reds as well. Swing and a fly ball foul. 0-2. For Smith, his pathway to the Yankees roster as a non-roster invitee might be a little bit blocked. Yankees brought in former MVP Paul Goldschmidt to play first, and if healthy, they have Giancarlo Stanton at DH. So Smith could be playing for other teams as much as the Yankees right now. One hopper over to Jimenez, and his first defensive play as a Blue Jay is routine to end a 1-2-3 inning. Very nice from Easton Lucas, and the Blue Jays hit for the first time next on Sportsnet.
Today we went to the beach, and it was totally worth it. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at Best Western.
At Spectrum, we believe every day unlocks unlimited possibilities. Spectrum transforms your gaming experience into a galaxy of adventures. And with super reliable internet speeds, you're always front row to the entertainment you love. Switch to Spectrum Internet today.
At 1.
Some win their fantasy football leagues, and others are Chris Bassett. 4-10 record for him in the Blue Jays Fantasy League this season. You might see it on the back of him, and he's trying to figure out what he needs to do here. Like Tim Mesa last year, Bassett is today's bat boy for the Blue Jays. And here are the bats he will retrieve. The Blue Jays lineup has a lot of thump at the top of it right now, maybe a little bit more than you're used to seeing in the first spring training game of the season. But Bo Bichette, Vlad Guerrero, and other guys really wanted to get in at the first chance.
Yeah, they're going to play a lot this spring. I think we saw last year, and I think a lot of these guys suffered because they didn't get enough at-bats. John Snyder's going to make sure that his regulars get plenty of at-bats this spring as they'll face Carlos Rodon, and looks like Rodon's having a little issue with the pitch count already. Coming off a great season a year ago, made 32 starts, and that's been the issue for him. If he can stay healthy, if he can stay on the field, he's got a chance to be a premier pitcher. Had a career-high 16 wins a year ago. He's always had the strikeout capability. You can see he's checking with PitchCom right now, and obviously everybody getting used to it once again. Ben Rice, the catcher, giving him some signs over the PitchCom, seeing if he's receiving them okay. Four-seamer, slider, changeup, curveball, and a cutter, and his fastball will average 95. He's always been a strikeout pitcher. He'll come at you.
First pitch swing, Bichette rolls it to second base. Braden Shoemake over to first. There are few lefty starters in the majors who throw as hard as Carlos Rodon.
Yeah, and like I said, he's just dealt with injuries throughout his career, and last year he was healthy. Signed a 6-year contract with the Yankees in December of 2022. In 23, he even had some forearm issues to start the season, got a late start to his season, but when he's right, he's as good as any lefty in the big leagues.
Speaking of lefties, left-handed hitter Andres Jimenez takes outside in his first plate appearance in a Blue Jay uniform. Should approach to start as he takes a strike there, 1-1. Buck, you had mentioned earlier the .297 average for Jimenez in 2022. He had 17 homers in that season. Was one of the best players in all of baseball that year, and now he's trying to get back to that form.
Yeah, he told me that last year he just tried to do too much, and he got up to a decent start in the season, but then he started to tinker around with his approach, and this year he's in a good spot. He knows who he is. He knows that he doesn't have to provide power for this team, but he wants to get back to the winning ways he had a couple of years ago. He's in a good spot emotionally as well. He's got some fellow Venezuelans here on the team. Anthony Santander is here. They're both from Venezuela, and they live in the same town. And Ali Sanchez is a backup catcher, non-roster guy, and Victor Martinez. He has been here all spring long. Lots of familiarity for Jimenez.
Jimenez has described Ali Sanchez as his best friend. It's pretty cool to have your best friend in camp with you as you both are at spring training for a new team.
Yeah, they have played together in the big leagues. They played together in winter ball, and now they're back together with the Blue Jays.
Off the handle, it lands in left center field. Maybe not the hardest base hit he's ever had, but a base hit for Jimenez the first time he puts the ball in play as a Blue Jay.
Yeah, and you know, top of the order is going to be interesting for the Blue Jays. Who's going to lead off? Who's going to hit second? And John Schneider's going to experiment with a lot of combinations. You take a look at this pitch. It's down. He stays on it and flares it over the shortstop's head into the outfield. But there's going to be a lot of manipulation among who starts at the top of the order ahead of Vladdy and Anthony Santander, who's probably going to hit behind Vladdy in that fourth spot.
Throw over to first. One thing Jimenez brings to the Blue Jays is stolen base ability as well. He's a guy who could swipe 30 or more bags in a season.
Yeah, the Blue Jays obviously haven't had much speed on the bases, and they haven't been a very good base running team lately.
First pitch to Guerrero. Called strike. Vladdy's smiling. I wonder if he was thinking about tapping his head there for a second, but he opts not to.
Nah, you don't want to tap it in the first inning, that's for sure. You only get 2 in the course of a game.
Just a monster year, of course, last season for Guerrero. 323, 44 doubles, 30 homers, 103 RBIs. July, August, he went on one of the great hitting streaks in Blue Jays history. And he looks just as good right now physically, if not better, than he did last year.
Yeah, he is in a different place now. He's 25 years old, soon to turn 26, and he's just one of those guys that He understands who he is.
Jimenez takes off and easily swipes second base.
Well, Vladdy's standing at home plate, nodding in agreement with Jimenez because he has moved himself into scoring position. Ben Rice didn't have much of a chance to throw him out. But first stolen base of the spring for the Blue Jays, and he gets a walking lead, gets a good break, and never even looks back. I like that because it's not going to take any speed away as you just focus on sliding into second and don't peek over your shoulder.
Guerrero laces the 2-1 to right field. Coming around third is Jimenez, and the throw goes into second. 1-0 Blue Jays on Guerrero's RBI single.
For run producers like Guerrero, it is so much easier to hit with a runner in scoring position than it is with a guy at first base. Because now you know it'll just take a single to score the runner from second base. And you cut your swing down, and Vladdy does this as well as anybody. Goes the other way to pick up an RBI.
So now Guerrero on first, 1 out, and Alejandro Kirk at the plate. Home plate umpire today is Adam Beck. Dan Iasonia at first, Vic Carapaza at second, Sean Barber at third. You had mentioned it earlier, Buck. It's a big year for Alejandro Kirk. He is going to be the lead catcher as the roster stands right now. They have some catchers in that compete to play with him, but he is the guy right now behind the plate.
Yeah, he certainly is. It's a different situation for Alejandro. You know, obviously, the last few years he's been splitting time with Danny Jansen, and they both felt like they were going to catch about half the time. But Alejandro's been down here in Florida since November. He's worked very hard. I asked John Snyder, what's the number you expect from Kirk? He said about 115 games. I think that'd be a good number for him. We mentioned last year he started 89 games, and that was a career high. Of course, most of that came after Danny Jansen was traded.
Kirk smashes a ball to left. What a beautiful diving catch by Ishmael Munguia. And that's a loud out for Kirk.
Yeah, Kirky's been swinging the bat well this spring early on, and I just think he's in a good spot. He knows that he's responsible for this pitching staff now, so he really has a double workload where he's got to learn everybody. But he puts a good swing on this, and it's a liner. Nice play in left field by the young left fielder.
Joey Loperfido steps in now, takes down an away ball 1. Vladdy on first after his RBI single. Loperfido hits it foul. 1-1.
Loperfido got 137 at-bats last year after the trade from Houston. And obviously mid-season for a young player trying to get acclimated to your new teammates, your new team. I think he's in a much better spot right now. He is part of this ball club.
Pops it up back of short. Munguia camps under it. And he'll make the play to end the inning. Blue Jays on the board, though, and guess who? Vladimir Guerrero Jr. His RBI single scores Andres Jimenez.
Wait, come back! Wait, come back, I need more help.
Take a load off it. Take a load for free.
Today we went to the beach, and it was totally worth it. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at Best Western.
At Spectrum, we believe every day unlocks unlimited possibilities. Spectrum transforms your gaming experience into a galaxy of adventures. And with super reliable internet speeds, you're always front row to the entertainment you love. Switch to Spectrum Internet today.
Welcome back to TD Ballpark. Now that Negotiations on his contract are behind him. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is turning the page, and as you've seen already in this ball game, firmly setting his sights on the baseball field. Now, he's already told us he will not address his contract in season, nor will he be thinking about free agency, just concentrating on victories. Now, Guerrero did admit that this entire contract process has fueled his desire to have another big season. It's great motivation, Guerrero told us. I wake up every day thinking about working out harder than before and trying to put up good numbers, staying healthy, and going to the playoffs. So, guys, the Blue Jays fans are hoping a motivated Guerrero is also a dangerous one on the baseball field. Guys?
Absolutely, Hazel. And Buck, correct me if I'm wrong, but a good Vlad season helps everyone involved. There's no downside to him playing well.
No, he has to play well. He's got a lot at stake, and obviously the ball club does too. Aaron Boone was asked about the Guerrero situation in reference to Aaron Judge, who went through the same thing, who played an entire season without a contract, looking toward free agency at the end of the season. And Aaron said it was never an issue with Aaron Judge, and I don't think it's going to be an issue with Vladdy Guerrero Jr. He is in a good spot. And Aaron Boone said, you know, Aaron Judge played for the team that year, and he had a great year, and he was rewarded. He elected to go free agency. He went out there and sought many of the offers and then came back and signed with the Yankees. I mean, that's still a possibility for Vladdy as well.
Certainly is, as Everson Pereira is the leadoff hitter for the Yankees this inning. Yeah, it's always a possibility that you go to the market and you just see what teams are offering, and then you and the Blue Jays as well can figure out what they're comfortable with.
Well, you know, Vladdy is exactly what you want in free agency. He's young. He knows the market. He's loved by the fans. He was born in Montreal. I mean, there's everything you want, and I just think it's difficult to find somebody that you can replace him with. I think he's irreplaceable. That's my opinion.
Opinion of a lot of people, as Everson Pereira gets hit by a pitch there that ran in. So he'll go down to first.
But, you know, Vladdy is in a different spot than he's been the last couple of years. Even last year, he turned into a man. He's a leader. This is his ball club. He knows what he has to do to represent himself and his team. And he also feels proud to represent Toronto and Canada.
First pitch strike to Spencer Jones, big prospect for the Yankees.
Big prospect indeed. He's 6'6".
Where are they finding all these guys? Everyone around them is 6'5" and up.
Well, one thing he's got to do is he's got to cut down the strikeouts. He had 200 strikeouts in Double-A last year in 122 games. But boy, oh boy, you get intrigued by his physique. He's got great speed. He's a good outfielder. He's got a strong arm. There's a lot of positive things to be impressed by, and I wouldn't worry about the strikeouts just yet.
Called strike three. He punches out there on a front hip breaking ball, and Jones is the first out.
Well, one thing that Pete Walker has noticed in his early experiment with Lucas is that he throws strikes. He said he knows who he is. He knows what his stuff is. And he saw him in 2 appearances last year in relief pitching for the Blue Jays.
George Lombard Jr. hits it foul off the top of the Blue Jays dugout fence. 0-1.
George Lombard Jr., of course, his father is the bench coach for the Tigers, and he was a #1 pick just 2 seasons ago. Good-looking player. Put up decent numbers in his second season of pro ball.
Swing and a miss and a snap throw to first. I think the runner was back in time anyway, but Vlad couldn't hold on. And George Lombard did play in the majors as well. Had some time with the Braves, Tigers, Rays, and Nationals.
Long-time coach with the Dodgers. He was a terrific coach for L.A., and now he's the bench coach for A.J. Hinch in Detroit.
Lombard Jr. coming off a season split between A and high A. A little bit light in terms of the batting average, but one thing he can really do is run. He stole almost 40 bases. 1-2. High and outside. Slightly more grueling inning for Easton Lucas. Threw only 10 pitches in the first, has thrown 12 pitches here in the second. Now he'll check on the base runner, Everson Pereira. Called strike three again, back-to-back punch-outs for Lucas. He's looked really good through an inning and 2/3.
Yeah, he's got a great delivery. Right now, he's throwing out of the stretch because he's been a reliever most of his career, but I love the way he attacks the strike zone. Breaking ball back door, received well by Kirk, and he had 10 pitches in the first inning. He's been very efficient and very aggressive early.
All three of his strikeouts have come on his cut fastball, by the way. And there's a first pitch strike. This is Ismael Munguia over from the San Francisco system last year. You can see he had a pretty nice year between AA and AAA. One. Hit foul, and again, Lucas ahead. 0-2.
Ben, you know what happens when you throw a lot of strikes? Hitters have to expand their strike zone. They have to swing the bat, and they don't have the luxury of laying back and getting a pitch down the middle to hit. And so Pete Walker is constantly preaching to his pitchers, be the aggressor. Put the pressure on the hitter. By throwing strike one, strike two, now the hitter becomes very, very defensive.
Hit softly on the ground at third base. Clement has it, and that's another scoreless frame for Easton Lucas. 1-0 Blue Jays after an inning and a half on a beautiful day in Dunedin, Florida.
At Spectrum, we believe every day unlocks unlimited possibilities. Spectrum transforms your gaming experience into a galaxy of adventures. And with super reliable internet speeds, you're always front row to the entertainment you love. Switch to Spectrum Internet today.
Captain America, symbols unite us, but the threats we face show no signs of slowing down. Come and get me!
Captain America, Brave New World, rated PG-13.
Step up to the plate and get ready to play ball. The baseball show for kids where you can learn about batting, fielding, and everything in between from the real pros. Every swing is a big hit on Play Ball. Saturday mornings at 10 Eastern on MLB Network. Goodbye offseason. Hello baseball. Go around the horn to reach teams' training camps on MLB Tonight's 30 clubs in 15 days.
Let's do it.
MLB Tonight's 30 clubs in 15 days begins Wednesday only on MLB Network.
What?
The 2025 Blue Jays promotion schedule launched today, and there are tons of exciting promotions to check out this season. Start with the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Silver Slugger bobblehead by being one of the first 15,000 fans at the ballpark on Monday, March 31st. Get your tickets at bluejays.com/promotions. A lot of new, fresh promotions for the Blue Jays coming out this year. Ernie Clement back with the Blue Jays, and he takes a pitch outside from Rodon. Interesting to think back to a year ago about right now. Ernie Clement, a question mark for the Blue Jays as he pelts a ball foul. A guy who was out of options, who had a huge camp and played his way onto the roster, and then once getting on the roster, played his way into a second half starting role.
Yeah, he really played well. First time in his career he had a chance to play on a regular basis, and he certainly made the most of it. There's a good changeup from Rodon. You know, Ernie, he had 434 at-bats, more than he's ever had. And there's David Popkins talking with Bo in the dugout. And Ernie gets himself a base hit.
Classic Clement line drive right up the middle.
But yeah, Ernie feels pretty good about where he's at in this spring. He knows he's still has to prove himself, and he's ready to do that. He can play third, of course, and he's more than likely going to be a backup at shortstop, as opposed to moving Jimenez to short when Bo doesn't play short. Ernie Clement will probably play short in a backup situation.
First pitch to David Schneider is strike one. Schneider and Clement living together again during spring training, as they did last year, with no Spencer Horwitz now in the organization, as Clement takes off and swipes second.
Ernie was 12 for 15 in steals a year ago. He is the fastest guy on the team, and he's got good speed, and now with regular playing time, he has a better feel about when he can steal and when he can be most effective. We saw the benefit of a stolen base in the first inning when Jimenez stole second and scored on Guerrero's base hit.
Blue Jays are testing Rodon and Rice early. David Popkins did tell me today, we want to be able to score in a lot of ways. If you score in one way or two ways, teams can shut you down. Maybe speed is one of those ways. The Blue Jays are going to do it. Schneider lifts the ball to right field, settling under it Duke Ellis. And he'll make the catch. Clement is going to try to advance here. Ellis airs it out, and Clement gets in there. That was a risk, but you take your gambles in the spring, and it paid off for Ernie Clement.
Well, it's the mindset that they want to instill on this entire offense. Be aggressive. Take some chances. And they've practiced base running all throughout the early days of the spring. So Clement with good speed goes back and tags up. It's a medium fly ball to right. The throw is offline, and Ernie's in safely. So now that forces the Yankees to play the infield in.
Nathan Lucas taken down and away, 1-0. Really good finish to the year for Nathan Lucas last year. Came up in the last couple weeks of the season. You can see there he raked in his time as a Blue Jay.
Yeah, he's hit everywhere he's played. He's just never had a real good opportunity to play in the big leagues. He hit in college, he hit in the minor leagues, and whenever he gets a chance to get to the big leagues, he comes up with good at-bats. He and Will Wagner are very similar in their approach, where they put the bat on the ball, then they are always a tough out.
He's got a very legitimate shot, does Lucas, to be on this ball club. There's probably at least one outfield spot open, and maybe to start the year you could say two, with Dalton Varsho still returning.
Hey, Papa, look what I found on the rug.
Well, and this is one thing Lucas does very well. He's got a good eye at the plate. He's not trying to force things. He knows he has to get a good pitch to hit, and especially in a situation like this where he can drive in a run.
Ready, Papa?
Check swing that they say didn't hit Lucas, and coming to the plate is Clement. He'll score. So it's ball four. Thought for a second it might have tipped him. Wild pitch makes it 2-0 as Lucas heads down to first.
Now, early in the spring, his first game obviously, but a couple of stolen bases, an advance on a fly ball to right, and the Blue Jays have turned it into 2 runs. That is another situation where the catcher just reacted very late. That ball is not that far away from the catcher, and it goes off his mitt back to the backstop.
Now maybe the most intriguing player in camp for the Blue Jays, at least for some, Aurelvis Martinez, is at the plate for the first time, DHing today. He hits the ball hard, stopped at third by Cabrera. He'll throw to second for one, and over to first. That's a double play to end the inning. Blue Jays tack on another thanks to the speed and base running of Ernie Clement. It's 2-0 Toronto after 2.
At Sleep Country, we know that for every reason that keeps us awake,
Now and then, you need to stop and smell the roses. or the leaves, rocks, trees, sticks, and that one tree again. Stay 2 nights, get a $50 Best Western gift card.
At Spectrum, we believe every day unlocks unlimited possibilities. Spectrum transforms your gaming experience into a galaxy of adventures. And with super reliable internet speeds, you're always front row to the entertainment you love. Switch to Spectrum Internet today.
Wait, come back! Wait, come back, I need more help.
Take a long affair. Take a long affair.
Hockey Night in Canada returns tonight as Mitch Marner and the Toronto Maple Leafs take on Jacob Slavin and the Carolina Hurricanes. Don't miss the action at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific on Sportsnet Ontario, Sportsnet Pacific, and CBC.
That's got to be a little bit of a downer after 4 Nations hockey.
I know.
It's like you're playing the Stanley Cup, and then all of a sudden it's another exhibition game when it's actually a regular season game. That was terrific.
It was such an event, a lot of fun for both Canadian and American hockey fans. And now as Canadians and Americans meet to watch baseball, there's a new pitcher on the mound. It's Brendan Little.
Yeah, Brendan Little, he had quite a season last year with the Blue Jays, appeared in 49 games, and he's got the best sinking fastball on the team. He's got a terrific sinker. His goal this spring is to have more consistency with his cutter and his curveball. Give him something he can throw for strikes if he should happen to miss with that 2-seam fastball.
1-0 to Braden Shoemake is hooked to first, backhanded by Vlad, and a good cover by Little.
And Vladdy got kind of a tricky hop right at the end, but he stayed with it and was very focused on picking it up and made a good feed at Little.
He also had the benefit of Andres Jimenez hooking behind him.
Watch how this ball bounces, kind of an awkward bounce, and puts Vladdy on his knees, but he gets up and flips in time.
So quick out for Little, who was such a prominent reliever for the Blue Jays last year, but actually didn't make the team out of camp. Started the year as the third lefty behind Meza and Cabrera. Really stuck after he came up in June. First pitch strike against Duke Ellis. Ellis, mostly a minor leaguer last year, did appear with the White Sox and Yankees for 11 total games, and a lot of practice for Vlad at first. He gets another grounder and an awkward play, but everyone's all right.
Yeah, when you're playing behind Brendan Little, you better be prepared to have a ground ball hit in your direction because he's going to hit a lot of ground balls. Vladdy's had a couple in this inning, and Little, he can get some ground balls, and this is a bang-bang play. I think Vladdy got surprised by the speed of Ellis hustling down the line. He goes, whoa, that was close.
He gave a thumbs up, so everyone's all right. And he gets an extra second here to calm the heart rate as the top of the order comes back up for the Yankees in Ben Rice. Two outs on 4 pitches for Brendan Little.
Again, it's exactly what you want to do if you're a reliever. Come out of the bullpen and throw strikes. Each time you throw an additional pitch to a batter, he has a little more information on what you're featuring on that given day. So you come in, you throw strikes early, it forces them to make contact, and he's got 2 quick outs here. Very, very efficient.
There's another strike. It's 0-2. Strong first 2 innings for Easton Lucas. Now Little trying to make it a third scoreless. 0-2. Couldn't get him to chase in the dirt. Called strike 3 for Brendan Little, and a 1-2-3 inning for the lefty. Great Blue Jays pitching thus far, and that's part of the reason they're up 2-0 at the middle of the third.
Ready?
Ready. Keep going.
Thanks, Mom.
Almost there.
Adventure bigger in the all-new Nissan Armada.
You ever just look at them and think, yeah, I'm doing all right.
Stay 2 nights, get a $50 Best Western gift card.
At Spectrum, we believe every day unlocks unlimited possibilities. Spectrum transforms your gaming experience into a galaxy of adventures. And with super reliable internet speeds, you're always front row to the entertainment you love. Switch to Spectrum Internet today.
Captain America, symbols unite us. But the threats we face show no signs of slowing down.
Come and get me! Captain America, Brave New World, rated PG-13.
Drafting well is always important, and in respect, Chris Bassett did not have his best year. 4-10 in the Blue Jays Fantasy League that Commissioner and Green Bay Packer fan Dalton Varsho runs, and this is the punishment for last place, Buck.
Yeah, man, Chris Bassett, he's a good sport about it, of course. He's going to play the game, and he went 4-10, and he knew that he was going to be the bat boy for the opening day. So, you know, that's what this team has. They got a real good chemistry, and a lot of guys that get along really well, and that's a big step in the right direction for sure.
The order for the Blue Jays, Bo Bichette grounded out on the first pitch he saw in the first inning. It's obviously a very tight-knit rotation as well, a lot of carryover. Bichette hits it foul, 1-1. And then you take that tight-knit rotation and you add the future Hall of Famer Max Scherzer, who's also a former teammate of Bassett's.
Yeah, and Scherzer yesterday threw a live batting practice session, and I watched him warm up, and it was as if he's warming up for Game 7 of the World Series. He's amazing. I mean, he is so focused and so intense. You know, since 2018, Max Scherzer has dealt with injury after injury after injury and hasn't been able to stay focused, but he's in a good spot right now. Anthony Santander talking with Victor Martinez about hitting, and Victor is here every single day. And when you have a guy like that, experienced and obviously bilingual, can talk to anybody about hitting. And he's such a great resource. And the hitters are so anxious to talk to him. Victor, too, had a little bit of an input in Santander signing here, both from Venezuela. He told them about the situation in Toronto and how strong it is, what a good organization. And Victor is invaluable in his presence.
What a monster he was as a player.
Yeah, and you know what, too? I think more teams need to do that. Go back and lean on those guys that have been there and done that. And Victor always reminds these guys, hey, be who you are. Be Anthony Santander. You can't be Miguel Cabrera. Victor said, I couldn't be Miguel Cabrera. I had to be Victor.
Nice play over at short by Lombard, but the throw's wide, and Bichette's going to take off for second. It was a tough play for a young shortstop in Lombard, and in fairness to him, it did hit the glove of the first baseman, Dom Smith, but rolled away.
Yeah, and Lombard just got a little bit of a rush, and it was hit so hard it got to him very quickly. You watch his reaction, boom, it's hit hard, makes a nice play, and then got a little bit of a rush, throws off the mark, and Bo's able to go to second on the throwing error by the shortstop.
They gave Bichette a single on the play. He advances to second on an error. And Andres Jimenez steps up. He bunts, and bunts it foul.
I wish I had that scorekeeper when I played.
You would have won some batting titles.
That was a very liberal hit, I'll give you that.
Well, it's spring. We tend to stay positive.
You can see, Menace, here we are in game one of the spring, thinking about advancing Bo from second to third, take off advantage of that air.
Strawn Cabrera in from third. Now he's swinging away. It's 0-2.
Trying to pull the ball. Now here's where you really have to give up this at bat. You have to understand that with 2 strikes, going to be difficult to get a base hit. But if you do make contact, you got to hit it on the right side of the infield. You got to move Bo from second to third.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Got a piece of it, but not enough. And for Rodon, that's his first punch out. Still an opportunity here for the Blue Jays to score with Bichette on second and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at the plate. Ground ball hit to third. High hop, but Cabrera has it. And that's a quick out to make it 2 down. Still a runner on second. It's tantalizing to think, Buck, about what the Blue Jays could have if the top years of Vlad and Bo sync up again. You saw that, I think, in 2021, but then it's felt at times while one was having a better season, the other wasn't lining up with it. What do you think the team would be if they really had both these guys going full throttle at once?
Yeah, and I think that's a very good possibility. Obviously, they've played their entire career as professionals together. And when you look at the Blue Jays, they have a lot of room for improvement. And Bo, people forget that Bo was on the verge of leading the American League in 3 straight seasons in hits when he had a knee injury late in the season 2 years ago. And, you know, he's led the league twice in hits. He's one of the best hitters in the league. He gets on base a lot, and he can hit tough pitching. So you just want him to get back to being a healthy Bo Bichette.
2-0 to Alejandro Kirk. High ball 3.
You know, and you talk about the power. Blue Jays hit just 156 home runs. That was 13th in the American League. So you can't really manufacture power just because you want to swing harder. You got to have the people that are power hitters.
That one hit pretty hard to left field, and Bichette's going to get the wave around third. Throw to the plate for Monguia. He's offline, and Kirk makes it 3-0.
Well, Blue Jays have done a good job of playing situational baseball early in this ball game. And Alejandro Kirk comes up with a big 2-out base hit. And he's swinging the bat well. Bo reached on an infield hit, advanced on the air, and then scores from second base on the base hit by Kirk. Throw was offline. He slides in safely.
That's going to end the day of Carlos Rodon. Blue Jays scored 3 on him in 2 2/3 and lead 3-0 in the bottom of the third.
Today, we accomplished nothing. I mean it, not a thing. And it was kinda everything. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at Best Western.
At Spectrum, we believe every day unlocks unlimited possibilities. Spectrum transforms your gaming experience into a galaxy of adventures. And with super reliable internet speeds, you're always front row to the entertainment you love. Switch to Spectrum Internet today.
Captain America, symbols unite us. But the threats we face show no signs of slowing down.
Come and get me! Captain America, Brave New World, rated PG-13.
New pitcher for the Yankees, Harrison Cohen, in the game to try and get the Yankees through this bottom of the third inning where the Blue Jays have scored again. It's 3-0 Toronto with 2 outs and Alejandro Kirk on first.
Now, Cohen is 25 years old. He signed out of George Washington University in Washington, D.C. He is a New York State resident, grew up in New Hyde Park, New York.
It's on Long Island. Joey Loperfido takes low. Ben Schulman, Buck Martinez, and Hazel May on hand at TD Ballpark. First spring game of the Blue Jays 2025 season. Swing and a miss by Loperfido. Loperfido really went through a lot last year between making his major league debut and getting traded to a new team. A lot more settled this year. And one of these guys in the mix for that open fourth outfield spot.
Oh, yeah. He can play center field, as he's doing today, and he can play left and center. That's where he spent the majority of his time.
One of his big moments last year, we were at Yankee Stadium, and he tripled off the center field wall against the Yankees in a Blue Jays win.
Yeah, he's got a lot of potential. He's just getting started in his career, and you know he has really fit well with his team. He is staying with David Snyder and Ernie Clement. All three of them are sharing a spring training house.
He hooks that one into right field for a base hit. Kirk making the turnaround second, headed to third. Loperfido has a double.
Loperfido's got an intriguing set of tools. He runs well, he's got some power, can play very well defensively in the outfield, and he's intriguing. His goal, I'm sure, is just to make more consistent contact, and when he can do that, the ball's going to fly out of the ballpark. This is a changeup he stays on very well and pulls it down the right field corner.
Maybe not the worst thing for Loperfido that he's living with this guy, Ernie Clement, who makes about as much contact as anyone. Line to the left side, beautiful play, Cabrera, and a nice throw to complete it. Blue Jays get one, but it could have been more if not for the exploits of Oswaldo Cabrera. 3-0 Toronto. Baseball arrives at Rogers Center in March year, so you'll need to stay warm. On March 27th, experience opening day presented by TD, where all fans will receive a Blue Jays toque. It's a day game with first pitch at 3:00. Tickets are available, so visit bluejays.com/tickets and lock yours in today. Canadian Zach Pop about to take over for the Blue Jays as we get going in the top of the fourth inning. Ben Schulman, Buck Martinez, and Hazel May, in a big spring for Pop, who pitched a lot with the Blue Jays last year because he is out of minor league options right now. So it's a situation where maybe he makes the team, and if he doesn't, potentially other organizations take a look at Pop.
Yeah, he pitched in a career high 58 games a year ago, and he's got a particular goal in mind this spring, and it's not just to make the team, but he feels like he's got to have the ability to throw strikes with his breaking balls, his cutter and his breaking ball, and he wants to make sure that he doesn't get into a situation where he can only throw fastballs for strikes. He's got a great sinking fastball, much like Brendan Little.
There's a fastball hit high to Guerrero off a bounce. And the first down of the inning for Pop. And as we talk about that bullpen forming, there's a couple different ways that it could go, Buck.
Yeah, when you look at the names involved, these 12 guys right here pretty much pencil in for the bullpen unless there's somebody that really comes out of nowhere. But you look at Hoffman, he's going to be the closer. Then they have the options of Chad Green, Jimmy Garcia, Eric Swanson. They're all capable of closing out games. Nick Sandlin is a nice addition because he's totally different. He's a sidearmer with a great split. Yariel Rodriguez gives them length down in the bullpen if he's not in the rotation, as does Ryan Yarbrough, who they just brought back on a minor league contract. Ryan came into camp yesterday and threw a side session right off the bat, so he is ready to go. He's not going to take much time to get into game action.
He threw a side session before he had a jersey. He was just throwing in a shirt out there while everyone else was in full uniform.
Yeah, he lives in South Tampa, so it was an easy trip for him, but he's been ready to play, and he knows the Blue Jays, and he's anxious to be back. Happy.
Pop ahead of Dominic Smith, 1-2. Yankees only have one base runner so far, and it was a hit by pitch in the second inning. One-two. Foul back.
Boy, that's good stuff right there. That little cutter right in on his hands, and that's what you need as a relief pitcher, is the ability to make the ball go in opposite directions. The cutter comes in on the lefties, the sinker goes away on the lefties, and now the hitter has to think about balls moving in totally different directions. That's when you've really established yourself as a pitcher. And you can throw both pitches on both sides of the plate.
Another 1-2. And he got him.
Another cutter.
For more on the Blue Jays bullpen, let's go down to Hazel May.
Guys, manager John Schneider updated us on reliever Ryan Burr, who had been dealing with shoulder tendonitis. He took a couple days off from throwing, but apparently the good news is he's back to playing catch today. You also saw Eric Swanson on that bullpen board. He is a little behind this spring after experiencing some soreness after throwing a bullpen. Now, he did have an MRI, and it revealed no structural damage. That's good news. Swanson telling me he's not concerned at all and continues to work hard to catch up. Guys.
Thank you, Hazel. And the unfortunate part of spring is a lot of guys make the team because of performance, but you're also going to have injuries help shape your roster no matter which team you are.
Yeah, Eric Swanson's fine. I watched him throw a side session yesterday. He is beyond that forearm trouble that happened early in the spring. He got down here in January and started throwing, and he felt some soreness in his forearm. Shut it down for a couple of weeks, and now he's built back up to the point where his bullpen sessions have been terrific. throwing hard again. He's got a splitter back, and he's really trying to master a cutter and a slider, a breaking ball, to give him another dimension.
Pitch to Spencer Jones. Hit foul 0-1.
The Blue Jays, obviously, when you think about their bullpen last year, they had a bad season. Their ERA was 15th in the American League. They were 12th in opponents' batting average. The whip was 12th. Not many strikeouts. But now with the addition of Hoffman, Jimmy Garcia coming back, and healthy Eric Swanson, Chad Green, and now Sandlin. Sandlin's going to be an interesting guy because, as I mentioned, he's a sidearm pitcher with a very good split. And he doesn't give up anything. And he's not an overpowering guy, not a big guy, but boy, he's got good stuff and a very difficult angle. It's totally different than anybody else in their bullpen.
Just outside on that pitch, and Alejandro Kirk has tapped his helmet. He would like the automatic ball and strike system, or automated ball and strike system, to take a look at this one.
Yeah, and we're seeing where it is, and it just barely on this scoreboard missed outside.
1-1.
So now the Blue Jays lose that one challenge. You can see it's a half an inch off the plate outside. So that's what you want to do. And obviously in spring training, you're going to do it as often as you can. Pitchers, catchers, and batters are the only ones that can challenge a pitch, and it can't come from the dugout. The dugout has no input on whether or not a pitch is to be challenged.
Which is one of my favorite parts, because I think the worst thing about reviews is all the time you're waiting and they're looking at the video. Now it's right away.
It was quick.
And we know.
And two, I asked Casey Candell about it, who was the manager in AAA for the Bisons, and he said they use the challenge the first 3 games of every series. In AAA, they play 6-game series. They play all week long against the same team. And in the second 3 games, they use the automatic ball strike system, where every pitch is called by the technology. He said that's terrible. He said it takes too long. Games were all of a sudden going 4.5 hours. But he likes the challenge system.
High drive by Spencer Jones, and it just got fouled. Jones is a guy with big power. Let's take a look, though, for a little bit more on ABS. So if you keep getting challenges right, you can challenge as many times as you want, but you can only miss twice in a game. And like you were saying, Buck, no assistance from the dugout.
Yeah, and the thing is, pitchers and catchers can challenge, and then the batter, of course. But a lot of managers, I think, are going to discourage the pitcher from trying to challenge because they deliver a pitch on the move. They look back and see the catcher jerk the ball back into the strike zone, and every pitch is going to look like a strike.
Right.
So I think they're going to really focus on the catchers calling most of the challenges for the pitchers.
I asked John Schneider if he had a preference, and he joked. He said he doesn't really care, except Bassett's not allowed to challenge his own pitches. Pereira off on the pitch, and it's outside ball 4. So the inning continues.
Yeah, and Bassett falls off the mound. It's very difficult for a pitcher to deliver a pitch. You know, having caught as long as I did, I know that a lot of pitchers would say, that was a good pitch. And then I go back in the dugout and I say, no, that was off the plate. You were just falling through your delivery. And when you saw it last, it looked like a good pitch.
What was Dave Stieb like when you told him that the pitch that he thought was a strike was a ball?
Yeah, he would always argue the point anyway. But yeah, he was awesome. I love Dave. He was terrific, and probably the pitcher I like catching the most. It was such a challenge. He was so competitive.
First pitch strike to George Lombard Jr. Pereira on second base after an infield hit that went off the glove of Zach Pop, and then a walk to Spencer Jones.
You see Kirk come out of his crouch behind home plate because he'd put on a pickoff play with Vladdy Guerrero at first base. And the ball was a breaking ball, and that's a good pitch to throw to first base on because it's breaking away from the batter. You can move in that direction on the start, and Vladdy was on the move. He had broken in behind the runner, but the pitch was fouled out.
Spencer Jones leading off first, Everson Pereira at second. And time asked for by the batter, Lombard. The 0-2. Popped foul, we'll do it again. Lefty Mason Fluharty getting loose for the Blue Jays. Intriguing guy warming up here. Zach Pop is about to deliver his 20th pitch of the inning. Pardon me, his 19th. Lombard Jr. battling against Zach Pop. A really young player, 19 years old right now, will turn 20 at midseason. Bounces a ball to the right side. Jimenez after it, and he just gets Lombard to end the inning. Smooth sailing for the Blue Jays. So smooth you might just want to get out on the ocean. A very nice day in Florida and a great day for baseball.
You ever just look at them and think, yeah, I'm doing all right.
Stay 2 nights, get a $50 Best Western gift card.
At Spectrum, we believe every day unlocks unlimited possibilities. Spectrum transforms your gaming experience into a galaxy of adventures. And with super reliable internet speeds, you're always front row to the entertainment you love. Switch to Spectrum Internet today.
Captain America, symbols unite us. But the threats we face show no signs of slowing down.
Come and get me! Captain America Brave New World, rated PG-13.
La totalmente nueva Equinox 2025. Y visión envolvente HD disponible. Y Chevrolet.
It's an all-Canadian clash tonight in Ottawa as the Canadians visit the Senators. Coverage begins at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific on Sportsnet East and City TV. All 8,500 seats just about filled here at TD Ballpark as Brandon Liebrandt comes on for the Yankees, pitching against Davis Schneider.
Yeah, Charlie is Brandon's dad, of course, who pitched in the big leagues for a long time. And Brandon has had 2 different stints in the major leagues, a total of just 7 games. He drafted by the Philadelphia Phillies in 2014 out of high school, and then actually that was when he was drafted by the Phillies. He was drafted by Tampa Bay out of high school in 2011. Pitched at Florida State.
Hot shot off of his wrist, bounces over to second base, and Schumann makes the play there, 1 out. I'd like to welcome those Yankees fans and viewers watching on the Gotham Sports app today, in addition to our viewers north of the border and all around the world on Sportsnet. Ben Schulman, Buck Martinez, and Hazel May on hand, and they're just making sure that Brandon Liebrandt is all right. That was a tough play as that hit him right in the wrist.
Yeah, he deflected it a bit and probably cost David Schneider a base hit, but they mentioned Charlie Liebrandt is Brandon's father, and Charlie, of course, pitched a long time in the big leagues. Originally drafted by the Cincinnati Reds, and majority of his career was spent in Kansas City. Did a great job for the Royals. We ended up pitching in Atlanta and finished up in 1993 with the Texas Rangers.
Nathan Lucas with a big swing and a miss, 1-1. Swing and a fly ball center field. Tracking it down, Jones makes the catch, 2 down. You wouldn't have overlapped with Charlie in Kansas City, but you would have played against him, I would assume, as a Blue Jay?
Yeah, he played in 84 through 89 in Kansas City, and 84, 85, and 86 I played against Charlie Leibrandt. Started out his career with the Reds. Won 140 games. He was a good pitcher. Pitched against Blue Jays in the playoffs in 1985. And he had a good career.
His son now dealing to Aurelvis Martinez, who's 0 for 1. Tough year last year for Martinez, having to miss a lot of the season, serving the suspension that he had. Notable, though, that when he came back, he finished the year very strong for the Buffalo Bisons, and maybe some momentum generated coming into this season.
Yeah, obviously he made a mistake and he paid the price for it, and now he's trying to start all over here with the Blue Jays. That was an unfortunate situation for the Blue Jays as well, because had he been healthy, at least he would have played a full season AAA, and maybe, we know he made his debut in the big leagues, but it was just one game, but maybe he plays the second half of the season and you have a better idea what you might have.
Just smoked the ball out to right field, going back, Ellis looking up, it's gone! That's what he can provide. Big power from Aurelvis Martinez and the first home run of the Blue Jays spring.
Well, Aurelvis is a pretty special young man, just 23 years old. And you hit the ball in that direction that hard, that really serves you well because it gives you that much longer to decide if it's a pitch you want to go after. And look who's there at the top step to welcome him back in the dugout. This is a good swing on a pitch away from him, not trying to pull it, not trying to generate power. He just hit it where it was thrown, and he hits it out of the ballpark.
It wasn't a bad pitch from Leibrandt, maybe even a hair out of the zone. But Aurelvis did a lot of damage on that one, and now Bo Bichette up. The 1-1 down the left field line, fair ball. Chugging around first, he's going into second. The throw is late. And Bo Bichette has a double.
2 for 3 in his first game, and he is looking like Bo already. So he's going to be lifted for a pinch runner as he gets his 3 at-bats, and Josh Kasevich comes in to pinch run for him. But this is vintage Bo Bichette. He gets the ball down and in and hooks it down the left field line. You know, he had the 2 calf injuries last season. I asked him, I said, you do anything different this offseason? He said, yeah, I really focused on flexibility and strength. He said, I want to stay as limber as I can, trying to avoid a recurrence of those calf injuries. Twice he was on the IL.
And outside of that injury-plagued year, he's been as consistent, really, as any Blue Jay over the last couple seasons. Jimenez hooks it down the line, diving stop by Smith. It's going to be a tough play, but it's a good one. Smith to Leibrandt to end the inning. The first Blue Jays home run of the 2025 spring comes from one of their most highly touted prospects. Aurelvis Martinez goes oppo to make it 4-0.
Today, we accomplished nothing. I mean it, not a thing. And it was kind of everything. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at Best Western.
At Spectrum, we believe every day unlocks unlimited possibilities. Spectrum transforms your gaming experience into a galaxy of adventures. And with super reliable internet speeds, you're always front row to the entertainment you love. Switch to Spectrum Internet today.
Captain America, symbols unite us. But the threats we face show no signs of slowing down.
Come and get me! Captain America, Brave New World, rated PG-13.
Mason Fluharty takes over for the Blue Jays in the 5th inning of the spring opener. 4-0 Toronto at TD Ballpark in Dunedin. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Buck Martinez. Hazel May is down on the field.
Mason Fluharty, 56 games a year ago. Last spring with the Blue Jays, he appeared in 7 games, got a total of 7 1/3. He cuts his fastball and throws a hard cutter. Everything is going away from the left-handed hitters, so they have to deal with that pitch that's hard and breaking.
Bunt shown, but pulled back by Manguia. It's 1-0. Ismael Manguia is 0 for 1, grounded out to third. And this time he lines the ball softly to left field for a base hit. Manguia thinking about second, but he'll head back. A lot of changes for the Blue Jays around the diamond as well right now. Full new infield and catcher. Ali Sanchez is behind the plate now. Riley Terada at first. Michael Stefanik at second. Josh Kasevich at short. And Charles McAdoo is at third. You have R.J. Schreck in left, Stuart Baroa in center, and Alan Roden in right.
Wholesale changes for sure. And that guy is getting a lot of opportunities, but I like the fact that the top of the Blue Jays order had a couple of 3 at-bats. Both Bo Bichette and Andres Gimenez got 3 ABs.
Popped up foul. It's 0-2. Braden Shoemaker is the hitter for the Yankees. His major league time last year came all with the Chicago White Sox, 29 games. Check swing at the 0-2, and it gets away from Sanchez. Up to second base goes Manguia on what I believe will be a pass ball.
Yeah, it should have been caught, that's for sure. Ali Sanchez coming over trying to secure a spot in the organization, and that was a breaking ball that went off his glove. You can see just broke wide of the mark and got a glove on it, but couldn't corral it.
Swing and a miss there on the 1-2, and a strikeout for Fluharty after the pass ball.
Fluharty's got good stuff, and he throws hard. You can see he's a big, strong young guy, and comes at you with that cutter and that hard breaking ball. He throws a lot of cut fastballs. His fastball moves all over the place.
Blue Jays took him in the 5th round of the 2022 draft out of Liberty. Foul tip by Duke Ellis, 0-1. In fact, he was a teammate of Will Wagner's at the Virginia College Liberty. And last year, he was a horse for the Bisons. 56 games he appeared in to lead Buffalo.
Yeah, a couple of left-handers that were with the club last year. Tim Meza, he was eventually called up by the Yankees late in the season, and Genesis Cabrera, who I thought pitched very well for the Blue Jays last year, he was non-tendered and signed a minor league contract with the New York Mets. So it looks like Brandon Little has the upper hand in one of those spots, and whether they go with Ryan Yarbrough down there or another left-hander that's in camp. Another guy that's been impressive early on is Richard Lovelady, who is with Tampa Bay. He has thrown well since he's been here. Lots of options for Pete Walker and John Snyder.
While not truly a lefty, you had talked a lot about Nick Sandlin earlier. His numbers against lefties are phenomenal.
Yeah, he doesn't give up much to lefties at all, and that's a tribute to that great split finger pitch he throws.
Near miss there for Fluharty. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Gia at second base with 1 out. Shading behind him, Josh Kasevich, the shortstop. Couldn't get Ellis to chase. Full count. Payoff pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Went back to the breaking ball, and he's got a pair of strikeouts, 2 down.
Yeah, I think once Fluharty understands the value of throwing strike 1, he will be a terrific pitcher in the big leagues for a long time, because that fastball is moving, his cutter is nasty, and I think he can be effective against righties just as much as left-handers. Both the strikeouts have come against left-handed hitters today, but I think his cutter is going to serve him well against right-handed hitters also.
Off the end of the bat, a bouncer to third. Charles McAdoo picks it up and fires to first. Good stretch there by Tirada. And that's the inning. After a leadoff hit, Fluharty settles down and keeps it 4-0 Blue Jays, middle of the 5th.
What's it like?
Nature gives us what we need to protect ourselves, like elderberries. Nature's Way combined these with vitamin C, D, and zinc for powerful immune support inspired by nature. Nature's Way.
At Spectrum, we believe every day unlocks unlimited possibilities. Spectrum transforms your gaming experience into a galaxy of adventures. And with super reliable internet speeds, you're always front row to the entertainment you love. Switch to Spectrum Internet today.
Today, we accomplished nothing. I mean it, not a thing. And it was kind of everything.
Stay 2 nights, get a $50 Best Western gift card.
Maybe the best defender in baseball at his position, the outs above average leader in baseball last year was Andres Jimenez, over 20, and he is now a Toronto Blue Jay, brought over in a trade with the Cleveland Guardians. As we welcome you back to TD Ballpark, and we welcome Andres to the broadcast. Andres, Ben, and Buck here. First off, thank you so much for joining us, and I just want to get to that move that brought you to the Blue Jays. How surprised, or were you surprised to see yourself dealt over to Toronto?
Yeah, I mean, thank you guys for having me here. Yeah, it was a really surprise for me at the moment. You know, I was in Cleveland for the last 4 years, and you know, I made really good relationships there. But I'm glad to be here with the Blue Jays, and you know, having fun in here.
Andres, when you come here, and there's some familiar faces, obviously Ali Sanchez is your best friend. He's here in camp as well, but Victor Martinez, Anthony Santander, both from Venezuela. How much does that add to your comfort level and your adjustment coming to a new team?
A lot. You know, when you get traded, you feel like a new kid in the school. but it's been really familiar to me. I know Victor since last year. I know Anthony for the last couple of years. We play together in the WBC, and we live really close. And with Ali, you know, he's my brother. Hopefully he did something decent, but maybe double. I don't know.
Now it's another adjustment too, getting used to a new shortstop. But at the same time, you and Bo have played against each other. How did that help you? I know you had an admiration for one another when you played against each other in the minors.
Yeah, like I say, we play against each other since 2016 through the minors, and you know, he's special. He's a great athlete out there, and you know, we need to meet each other, know each other better, because playing together is gonna be different. But you know, play against him, I know what he can do on the field on defense.
On the other side of the ball, Andres, what adjustments have you made in terms of hitting from last season to this one?
I feel like it's get back to 2023, 2022, good years that I had, and forget about last year. You know, try to be myself, try to hit line drive all over the place, and yeah, last year was rough, but you know, this year is a new season, new team, and you know, try to help the team to win.
Andres, is there a particular area in the lineup you'd like to hit? I mean, you have the ability to handle the bat. We've seen that already today. You were thinking about running runner over. Is there a spot you like to hit in the order that you think your skill set serves the team best?
I don't know. Through my big league career, I've been hitting from little spot. Oh my God!
Sanchez drives one out to center field. Jones going back, and your buddy nearly had one.
Maybe double. He just need one more arepa this morning. But yeah, through my MLB, buena mano, buena. Falta una arepita. I've been hitting the whole position of the lineup from first to ninth. So my main focus is try to not change my approach. Wherever I am in the lineup, so I don't know. I don't have the answer for that. I feel really good being in the lineup.
Stuart Burrow is showing bunt punts at foul. Speaking of your buddy Ali Sanchez, for those who don't know as much about him, what kind of guy is he?
He's a great guy. He's really disciplined before the game. You know, he's early. He like to, you know, create good habits on the field. He wants to learn every single time, and he's a really good defender. I feel like he's so smart calling the games, and you know, hitting is there. Like you see, he hit the ball really hard, and you know, he's a complete player. I think he's really smart behind the play.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Andres. Excited to watch your season coming up, and good luck with the rest of spring.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
That is Andres Jimenez, All-Star Gold Glove second baseman, now with the Blue Jays. And a really exciting piece for this team. Locked up for a while going forward as Stuart Baroa hits one in the air to center. It's caught by Jones. And that will do it for the fifth inning. A 1-2-3 frame for the Yankees. Thanks again to Andres Jimenez. It's 4-0 Blue Jays.
Step up to the plate and get ready to play ball. The baseball show for kids where you can learn about batting, fielding, and everything in between from the real pros. Every swing is a big hit on Play Ball. Saturday mornings at 10 Eastern on MLB Network.
Monday Hot Stove. There were some baseball transactions over the weekend.
We are coming to you live from the winter meetings. The news we've been waiting for is here.
Seismic news this afternoon. There's a bunch of trades going on.
Wherever you go, stream MLB Network's off-season coverage on any device.
A trip to the 2026 World Baseball Classic is on the line when the second and third place teams from the WBC qualifiers in Taiwan square off in a winner-take-all matchup. Tuesday at 6 a.m. Eastern, only on MLB Network.
Every Friday home game, it's City Connect Fridays at Rogers Center. Home enter night mode with your giveaways, fireworks, entertainment, live music, and more. Visit BlueJays.com/promotions. Ben Schulman, Buck Martinez, and Hazel May on hand. Thank you so much for tuning in to the spring training opener, whether it be on Sportsnet or the Gotham Sports app. New pitcher for the Blue Jays into the game is the Brazilian right-hander Eric Pardinho, who has battled through a lot to be here today, Buck.
Well, he sure has, and they signed him as a very youngster out of Brazil, and he has dealt with a multitude of injuries. And he's healthy again. This is his first opportunity in spring training camp. And he has had a tough go going back to the pandemic. He was stuck at the Comfort Inn here in Clearwater for almost 2 years. He couldn't fly back to Brazil as there was restrictions on flights, and he and Max Castillo and Gabe Moreno were all stuck at the Comfort Inn. Moreno at the end of the season went back home to Venezuela, but Pardinho couldn't. So basically he had 3 weeks at home in Brazil over the span of 2 years because he couldn't travel. But he's healthy now. He's still just 24 years old. And he's interesting. He got a chance to pitch last year and pitched pretty well. And now this is his first opportunity in big league camp.
His 0-2 to Oswaldo Cabrera is hit on the ground toward Josh Kasevich. Sure-handed shortstop throws it over to first. For more on the interesting Eric Pardinho, let's go down to Hazelman.
Ben, thank you very much. Buck was right. Pardinho told me he spent the next 2 Christmases and 2 New Year's holidays stuck in that hotel room. He told me that was kind of rock bottom for him. He actually thought about quitting baseball, and he credited his parents for encouraging him to not give up, to keep on going, and they reminded him that his hard work would eventually pay off. Guys.
And it looks like last year was really when it started to turn again, that hard work paying off. He was great when he first entered the system. Then struggled a little bit as he returned from Tommy John, but he just carved up Double-A last year en route to getting to Triple-A for the first time.
Yeah, he got up to Buffalo. A little bit different experience for him with Triple-A, but certainly still young enough to resurrect his career, if you will, never having an opportunity to pitch in the big leagues, but now he's healthy, and you got to give it to him for sticking with it.
More than likely, he starts this season in the Bison's bullpen, and you never know. There is a bit of a history of the Blue Jays and Brazilian baseball players. Yan Gomes played for the Blue Jays. Check swing there, appeal to third, and he didn't go, says Sean Barber.
Before Yan Gomes, there was a young pitcher named Jose Pett that Pat Gillick signed early on, and Pett just didn't develop. But, you know, Pat Gillick was one that would look under a rock if he could find a baseball player.
Hot shot to first, good stab by Tirada, and he's over to the bag for the out.
Speaking of Gillick and finding baseball players, I was with him in the Netherlands, and he brought over a couple of cricket players to work out in the Netherlands, and they were both bowlers, and they came in and did some throwing for him. It was interesting. He was always looking for new talent.
Got to find an advantage any way you can. Two ground balls for Pardinho and 8 pitches, and he deals to Pereira and misses high. Pereira's been aboard twice today, one of the few Yankees who have been on at all. A hit and a hit by pitch. He's perhaps on the fringes of the Yankee roster right now. Can play a couple different positions. Pereira did struggle, though, when he came up to the majors in 2023. Hit 151 and struck out 40 times in 27 major league games. There's definitely some decisions, though, for Aaron Boone about what the lineup and the defensive alignment are going to be for the Yankees. Backup catcher, starting third base, a little bit up in the air.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be Cabrera and DJ LeMahieu battling out for playing time at third base. Jason Dominguez, a young, interesting rookie prospect, will probably end up starting the position in left field. Switch hitter with a lot of power. But Aaron Boone said, you know, we're in a good spot. He said he loves Cody Bellinger, and Bellinger has told him that he'll play anywhere.
Called strike 3. Pardinho punches out Pereira. It's a 1-2-3 inning. But there's a challenge. So we will see. And that is just fractionally a ball. So the players have to go back out onto the field, and it'll be a walk to extend the inning.
Yeah, that was interesting because the Blue Jays were headed to the dugout, and the Yankees said, hold on a minute. We're going to use one of our challenges. And John Snyder said, you know what? That's good use right there. You turn a strikeout into ball 4. Everybody's going to get used to it. They're going to have different opportunities to test it in spring training. And I like the challenge. I think it's a good move for baseball.
Pardinho now to Spencer Jones. Foul back. Big hack, 0-1.
One thing that's going to be interesting for teams as they get into the regular season when it is introduced is that you just have to be prudent when you use it. You can't use it early in the game for just another pitch. It's got to be a game-changing situation before you really challenge a pitch.
Good bounce back from Pardinho. I had nothing in 2.
I'll tell you what, he's been impressive throwing strikes. Coming right at you. He's going to pitch in the WBC qualifier for Brazil, which is going to take place in the next week or so. So this might be his last opportunity to pitch before that World Baseball Classic qualifier. He pitched for them as a 16-year-old in the qualifier. Brazil has actually been in the tournament back in 2013 in Japan, managed by Barry Larkin at that point.
The 1-2. In the air, deep left field. Back is R.J. Schreck on the warning track, leaps at the wall, it's gone. A 2-run swing on the ABS challenge. Spencer Jones leaves the yard, and the Blue Jay lead cut in half.
Yeah, that was pretty good use of that challenge by the hitter. He said, I think that's outside, and why not take a chance with 2 strikes, 2 outs in the inning, and that gives Spencer Jones an opportunity. And there you can see the power that's intriguing for the Yankees. Young guy is 6'6", and he hit a fly ball out of the ballpark to the opposite field.
George Lombard Jr. takes down and away 1-0. If it's anything like last spring training, it'll be full of highlights this year for Jones, who hit a 470-foot homer on his first swing last spring. Jonathan Lavalley is getting loose now. The Blue Jays just allowed their first runs of the game. '21st pitch of the inning for Pardinho. Hit back up the middle on the ground. Long run, and it's off the glove of Stefanik. Michael Stefanik with the Blue Jays this spring training. Over from the Angels, and they call that one a base hit. He did have a long way to go.
Interesting how the inning turned around. Looked like Pardinho was out of it with a called 3rd strike. The Yankee hitter challenged it. It's ball 4, and now a 2-run home run and an infield single.
That prompts Ali Sanchez to go out and talk to Eric Pardinho, who probably doesn't have a ton longer in terms of pitch count, already over 20 pitches in the inning. Single to left field for Ismael Munguia last time he came up. Left in scoring position in the 5th. If you weren't with us a couple minutes ago, though, it was a strikeout to end the inning until the challenge. Walk continued the inning as Pereira got down to first, Jones homered, and then an infield single. Pitch hit foul, it's 1-2.
Pardinho's done a good job of throwing strikes. He's come in and looked like he was out of the inning, and then just come right back and thrown some strikes.
Throw over to first, and he almost had the base runner Lombard a little too far off the bat. Miss up top with a fastball, 2-2.
Yeah, Pardinho, he made a couple of good moves over to first base. Lombard's bouncing off the base like he wants to run, but I think he's vulnerable to being picked off. If he chooses the wrong time to bounce, he could get picked off.
Takes off on the pitch, and it's hit foul. That can't be fun. You've been sizing a pitcher up for 4 pitches, and when you finally go, guy hits it foul up the third base line.
Yeah, he had a good jump. This is his first spring training camp with the Yankees.
Got to be a pretty big vote of confidence when you're 19 and you're in Major League spring training.
Yeah, he was #1 pick a couple years ago in 2023. His dad's been telling me about Junior for a long time. He said Junior's going to be a good player, and here he is in the big league camp.
Ground ball hit over the head of Toronto. Fair ball down the right field line. Lombard burning it around the bases, headed around third and trying to score. Headed to third is Munguia, and it's a 1-run ball game on an RBI triple.
Yeah, Pardinho throws a breaking ball down, and then it's bounced down the first base line, and it's going to go all the way into the corner. He's going to end up at third base as Lombard scores all the way from first base on the 2-out triple, and Pardinho will be removed from the ball game. We'll have a new pitcher when we come back.
theaters February 28th.
It's a Western Conference battle as the Central Division leading Jets and Connor Hellebuck take on Jordan Binnington and the Blues in St. Louis. Check it out tonight at 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central on Sportsnet West. Jonathan Lavallee into the game for the Blue Jays, trying to finish off this inning that's turned into a productive one for the Yankees. 3 runs scored.
Yeah, it looked like Bardini was going to have a 3-up, 3-down inning, and then that challenge went against him.
First pitch to Braden Shoemake is hit foul.
Lavallee is 25 years old. He pitched last year in Vancouver and had a good year. Had 28 appearances in Vancouver and then moved up to New Hampshire AA, made 12 more appearances there, and he got the chance to pitch in the Arizona Fall League. In Scottsdale and had a good Fall League. 10 1/3 total innings, had a very good ERA at 174. Long Beach State product, drafted out of Cal State Long Beach, 16th round pick in 2021.
Been with the Twins for a bit. They let him go, and the Blue Jays picked him up February of last year. Generates the ground ball he needed to get out of the inning, and the Blue Jays maintain the lead. 4-3 is the score. Bottom of the 6th, coming up from Dunedin on Sportsnet.
Closed captioning is brought.
The 2025 promotion schedule launched including City Connect Friday schedule, where there's something exciting every Friday home game. On Friday, March 28th, be one of the first 15,000 fans and receive a Bobish layered City Connect replica jersey. Visit BlueJays.com/promotions to get your tickets. Ben Schulman, Buck Martinez, and Hazel May on hand. Charlie Liebrandt out for a 3rd inning of work for the Yankees, and the first at-bat of the spring for Charles McAdoo. I remember last year, around the deadline, the Blue Jays made the trade to Pittsburgh. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa went that way. McAdoo came back. And Buck, if I remember right, you were pretty intrigued at the time of what McAdoo could bring, as he hits a ball high and deep to center field. And it's just going to get run down in center, but I guess we can see what's intriguing about McAdoo.
Yeah, I've watched Charles all spring long. He's got some pop in that bat. Third baseman, and he's a pretty intriguing guy, very talented. And Blue Jays did a nice job of picking up some talent, adding to their depth in those trades. And you can see he just missed hitting a home run in his first at bat in spring training. He's got a quick bat. He's got a strong arm defensively from third base, and it's going to be interesting watching him through the rest of this spring.
Fly ball, by the way, tracked down by new center fielder Jackson Castillo. Here's R.J. Schreck coming off a very nice season in the Blue Jays system. Schreck, a Los Angeles native, drafted out of Vanderbilt by the Seattle Mariners, and he smokes the ball to right field, but that one's going to get caught as well. Good contact. Nothing to show for it for the Blue Jays.
Now, Schreck went to high school in California at Harvard-Westlake. And you remember that high school where those three pitchers were all #1 picks out of Harvard-Westlake a few years ago. Max Fried, Jack Flaherty, and Lucas Giolito all went to high school at Harvard-Westlake, as did R.J. Schreck, and then he went to Vanderbilt. Put a nice swing on that one.
Now it's Alan Roden at the plate for the Blue Jays, one of their top prospects. Fouls it back. There's been some lofty discussions about Alan Roden and what he could potentially do this year if things go right. Do you think, Buck, that Roden could find himself in the big leagues this year?
Not right out of camp. I just think there's too much competition. And he needs to really get back to AAA, get regular at-bats. I like his potential. I see a little Kyle Schwarber there.
Okay.
Same type of hitter. He's got a very good eye at the plate, very disciplined at the plate. But once again, the adjustment to AAA is pretty dramatic. But it's even more so from AAA to the big leagues. I don't think there's ever been a wider gap than there is between the minor leagues and the major is than there is right now. Most of the talent's in the big leagues, and facing big league pitchers is a totally different story than facing minor leagues.
He's hit on the hand right there. No, it actually hit him on the knob of the bat. So the throw down to first from Liebrandt will end the inning. Well, 2 loud outs and a really awkward out, but for Liebrandt, a scoreless frame. It's still 4-3 Blue Jays after 6.
Kinder.
To a perfect family vacation, separate rooms. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at Best Western.
At Spectrum, we believe every day unlocks unlimited possibilities. Spectrum transforms your gaming experience into a galaxy of adventures. And with super reliable internet speeds, you're always front row to the entertainment you love. Switch to Spectrum Internet today.
It's been an interesting offseason for the New York Yankees, no doubt. Of course, they lost the biggest free agent in baseball to the crosstown rival Mets, but they added a lot to their team as well. Buck, when you look at their overall offseason, what are you thinking about these Yankees moves?
Yeah, obviously, bringing Max Fried in is a big get for the Yankees. Fried has been a terrific player. We just mentioned he's one of those 3 first-round picks out of high school in California at Harvard-Westlake. Spent his entire career, all 8 seasons with the Atlanta Braves before he signed that nice contract. Cody Bellinger, former MVP in the National League. He's going to play center. Paul Goldschmidt, the veteran, he's going to play first base for Boone. And, of course, Devin Williams from Milwaukee is a terrific closer. He's got that wipeout changeup that is such a great pitch for him. And the Yankees have done a nice job. I asked Aaron Boone, I said, how do you like your team? He said, we got a chance. Indeed, they do.
Andrew Velasquez at the plate right now. Takes a strike and then takes a ball, so it's 1-1.
Of course, one thing the Yankees are,
Morales.
excuse me, Ben, one thing the Yankees are missing, Soto and Judge together. When Soto and Judge were together last year, opposing teams just always kept their eye. When are they coming up? When are they coming up? I mean, those two back-to-back were tough to think about.
Called strike 3. Andrew Velasquez goes down, and there's 1 out.
Yeah, I think that's one thing the Yankees, they're going to miss that. Soto was so good at getting on base, and once you have a guy like that getting on base consistently ahead of Aaron Judge, your offense is going to be much more productive. And I think last year, when Jason Dominguez did come back from Tommy John surgery, he didn't produce offensively like they had hoped, and they had to go with Alex Verdugo in left field. But now Dominguez is healthy. He's penciled in to start every day in left field, and it's still not going to be the dynamic duo of Soto and Judge, but they still think they have enough to compete and win the East again.
And they made one huge change in the offseason, Buck. They are now allowed to grow facial hair below their top lip. It was, at least to me, shockingly big news. But it is a thing now. The Yankees no longer have that signature look. And maybe some vindication for Blue Jays bench coach Don Mattingly, who wore a goatee at one point in the latter stages of his career in the 90s.
Yeah, and Donnie and George Steinbrenner went round and round about the length of his hair early on. And Donnie, he had longer hair, and he kind of liked wearing it that way. One of my favorite stories is, though, that with Lou Piniella and George Steinbrenner. Piniella came to camp with long hair one time, and George says, Lou, that's not going to work. And Lou said, listen, George, if long hair and a beard was good enough for our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, I think it should be good enough for the Yankees. And George Steinbrenner says, Lou, follow me. And he went over to a nearby pool and said, as soon as you walk across that pool, you can wear long hair. So George Steinbrenner, he had an answer for everything, and he certainly shot down Lou Piniella in a heartbeat.
1-2 pitches hit through the right side by Jesus Rodriguez. The substitute catcher gets base hit. For more on the Yankees changes, let's go down to Hazelmet.
Guys, I reached out to Blue Jays reliever Chad Green, who spent his first 7 seasons in the majors with the Yankees, and he told me that the no facial hair policy was a topic of conversation at many times during the season among his New York teammates. He said it was almost like a running joke. Make sure you have a razor handy if you saw someone with a little too much stubble. I asked him if that policy could potentially deter players from signing with the Yankees. Green said there is a chance, especially if a guy likes his long hair or beard and doesn't want to shave every other day. He thought that the change is long overdue. Also, guys, Aaron Judge, I spoke to a member of the New York media. Aaron Judge did not want the policy to change too drastically because it was things like that that set the Yankees apart from other teams. He liked that they were different from the other 29 teams in that respect. Guys?
And Hazel, it is true that it's not all beards. It's, quote, well-groomed beards that fly with the Yankees at this point. So it's not going to be a late 2000s Red Sox situation where you have a bunch of guys with long shaggy hair and long beards, but...
Or Brandon Marsh with the...
Yeah. Not going to see Charlie Blackmon.
Nah. But I kind of agree with Aaron Judge. You know, I like the fact that the Yankees have the same traditional uniforms. They don't have their names on the back of their uniforms. And it's like, you know, when you go to the Yankees, I mean, Jason Giambi signed with the Yankees and shaved before he ever got there. I mean, everybody knew what the situation was, and it was a rule for over 50 years. And, yeah, it might be time to change the rules. And, you know me, I'm more old school than anybody, but I can understand, you know. Just present yourself in a proper fashion. Eric Davis actually spoke out about it today, the great star for the Cincinnati Reds, who had similar rules. Uniforms always the same, Red Sox always the same. So, yeah, it's interesting that the times have changed. I get that.
Roderick Arias strikes out there, but a stolen base for Jesus Rodriguez, and there's a runner on second with 2 outs. I mean, heck, even Rougned Odor shaved his beard when he went over to the Yankees for that brief stretch. But what you might see is a little bit more of the beards like Devin Williams, their new closer, who is not sporting a long, shaggy beard, but potentially will keep his facial hair that he had in Milwaukee. As Tyler Hardman takes the first pitch down and away, 1-0.
Well, beards obviously are very much in vogue around, you know, all over the place. And I guess you just have to change with the times.
1-0 is up and in. It'll be interesting to see, though, this was just handed down. So no one has a beard, really, for the Yankees right now. We'll kind of get to see day-by-day progress if you follow the Yankees at all of who is going to grow out their beard and who isn't.
Well, you remember Garrett Cole had a beard when he was in Houston.
Yeah.
And he shaved before he ever got to the Yankees, but he always wanted to play for the Yankees.
Carlos Rodon, the starter today, had a little bit more going on before he was a Yankee, when he was with the White Sox or with the Giants.
Well, I'm glad the Yankees are here for opening day, so we don't have to talk about it anymore all spring.
Yeah. 3-1 count to Hardman. Still Jonathan Lavallee on the mound right now for the Blue Jays. Got the final out of the last inning. Trying to end the top of the 7th, send us to the stretch. The 3-1. Hit well, but well fouled. 3-2.
One thing we haven't talked about in Yankee camp is the fact that Giancarlo Stanton hasn't swung a bat yet.
Yeah.
He's got tennis elbow in both of his elbows, and it's been a big, painful situation. He addressed it and said he played with it last year most of the season. Of course, he had a great postseason for New York and had a terrific World Series, but that's a concern.
Certainly is, as Hardman takes a full count walk.
One other thing we haven't mentioned yet is the fact that Aaron Boone got a contract extension.
He did.
He has done a great job. This is his 8th season with the Yankees, and he has a 2-year extension. I was able to congratulate him today for that, and he's done a terrific job in New York. Of course, he comes from a great line of baseball people. His grandfather and his dad, and so many people have played. His brothers played in big leagues, and he's a terrific manager for the New York Yankees.
Won his first pennant last season, and he told me, or really he agreed with me. I said, some decisions might be a little easier for you this year with the bullpen, and he said, it's going to be a little easier. Devin Williams at the back end. When you have Luke Weaver closing you playoff games all the way to the World Series, and now he's your setup man,
yeah,
he's in a good spot.
And they lost Clay Holmes, too, who had been such a good reliever for them. Not necessarily a great closer, but everybody's adjusted. The entire division has made some adjustments. The Red Sox made some pretty interesting adjustments as well.
Pinch hitter for the Yankees, Reynaldo Hernandez, is in, ending the day of Everson Pereira. When asked by the Yankees reporters today about the division, Boone did say he felt like it was even more than other years, a year where everyone comes into the season pretty dangerous. He said any team could win it going into this season. That was his opinion, at least.
Yeah, when you think of Boston and they got Garrett Crochet in a trade from the White Sox, they signed Walker Buehler, the Dodger pitcher, to a free agent contract, and most recently, of course, Alex Bregman. And if you look at Bregman's numbers playing at Fenway Park, they're stupid.
Really good.
They're really stupid numbers. I mean, he's right there with DiMaggio hitting in that ballpark, and with great Manny Ramirez and guys that have really flourished at Fenway. Alex Bregman is right there with all of them.
Swing and a miss at the 2-1. It's 2-2.
But the signing of Alex Bregman has created some controversy, of course, with Rafael Devers, who is a third baseman. And Devers says, I'm a third baseman. I'm playing third base. So it'll be interesting. And Bregman's saying all the right things. He said, I'll play second if you want, whatever you need and all that stuff. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out the rest of the spring.
2-2.
The surprise for me is that the Orioles didn't do much in the offseason to address their pitching staff. Corbin Burns, of course, left and signed with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and they've got that great core of young position players. But, the pitching is going to be a concern, I think, in Baltimore.
And they're under new ownership. Didn't make huge moves as the 3-2 is hit back foul.
Charlie Morton, a veteran, was signed to a 1-year contract, and he, like Scherzer and Verlander, in their 40s now. And, yeah, they can pitch, but how much do they have left in the tank? It was interesting. They all got the same contract, $15.5 million for 1 year.
One chopped foul again. Tyler O'Neill brought to Baltimore, the Canadian left fielder that essentially goes in the spot of Anthony Santander. And then a couple moves around the fringes as well. Ramon Laureano was brought in, but they mentioned the Orioles that their payroll is up, although a lot of that has to do with their arbitration and younger players just getting raises. 3-2 pitch is hit high, left field. Shrek backing up, and he'll make the catch to end the inning. Scoreless frame for Lovelly, who pitched a scoreless inning in a third, as we take it to the 7th inning stretch. 4-3 Blue Jays. After the first 7th-inning stretch of the spring, we're back at TD Ballpark with the Blue Jays leading the Yankees 4-3. Ben Schulman, Buck Martinez, and Hazel May on hand, and a guest as we start the bottom of the 7th inning in his 4th season as Blue Jays manager. We are joined by John Schneider. Skipper, thank you so much for joining us today. How's it feel? First game of spring.
Good. You know, hanging on to this one-run lead here, but it's nice to just get back watching games and getting your daily routine down and things like that. So it's nice to be back out here.
John, you mentioned early in the spring, you're not going to really look at numbers or at bats or anything else. You're just going to look at the guys and how they're handling different situations. And early on, first game, you got Jimenez up there trying to bunt a guy over from second. That's got to be an encouraging sign for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a guy who knows what he is. You know, we've seen him do that in Cleveland for a lot of years and just understands the situation of the game. You know, it's taking advantage of, you know, stolen base, him and Ernie. But he's just such an all-around solid player and just really complements any lineup really well.
How do you feel overall about the pieces that you've added, whether it be on the pitching side, starting or bullpen, or in the lineup? A lot of different tools for you this year.
Yeah, man, I like where we are, and I think if you look at, you know, if you're sitting in September of last year and you say you can get Yimi Garcia, Jimenez, Sandlin, Jeff Hoffman, Max Scherzer, I don't know if I'm forgetting anyone, but that's pretty good. You know, I'll take that. Santander, sorry, that one. Yeah, it's a pretty big one. But it's I like where everyone's kind of fitting in, and I like the way they're going about their work so far. It's cool when you have kind of a veteran group, but then you get some really good players around that, but you get really good people in the clubhouse too. So it's been kind of cool to watch that unfold.
John, when you bring in new players, obviously you have a certain understanding of who they are, but when you see them firsthand, how impressed have you been with the way these newcomers have really melded with your holdover players?
Yeah, it's great. You know, I think those three guys with Tony, Jimenez, Scherzer, really, it's really kind of just nice. They're all business, you know. It's all about winning, and I think that just does a lot for the guys that we already have here. You know, it's encouraging to watch Bo's at bats, Kirky's at bats today. You know, hopefully they can just be them this year. But I think when you add in people that are just solely about winning around that, it really just elevates everyone around them. So it's been really, really encouraging to kind of add those pieces. And I think that the guys that have been here have been, around each other enough to understand what makes everyone good.
When you look at Max Scherzer, and we know what a great pitcher he's been for a long time, but yesterday I watched every move he made as he prepared for that live batting practice session. And you were standing right there watching him. For me, it looked like he was getting ready to pitch the World Series game. What was your impression of Max Scherzer yesterday?
Pretty much that. We've kind of heard that on days he's pitching, you're not going very close to him. He's pretty locked in. And it was the quietest I've ever heard a field during a live BP. I think everyone watching was kind of, looking to see what he does, how he handles himself, and kind of how he goes about his business. But he's been, as advertised, just has seen a lot, done a lot. Just a quick inning, boys.
I know.
Throw it away.
It's like you didn't want to hang out with us longer.
But having Max, man, I think he's healthy, and we don't want him to do anything he's not capable of, right? But really just, I think he's going to elevate not only the young guys here, but even the veteran pitchers we have here, too.
A short time, but a good time. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah, you bet. Sorry it was short-lived, but we'll do it again soon.
Talk to you soon. We'll be back in a moment. More Blue Jays and Yankees next on Sportsnet.
At Spectrum, we believe every day unlocks unlimited possibilities. Spectrum transforms your gaming experience into a galaxy of adventures. And with super reliable internet speeds, you're always front row to the entertainment you love. Switch to Spectrum Internet today.
What, you mean like right now? Yeah.
Captain America Brave New World must be seen on the biggest screen possible.
You want me? Come and get me!
Captain America Brave New World, rated PG-13.
Eighth inning in Dunedin. New pitcher for the Blue Jays, Anders Tolhurst, is on for Toronto, a right-hander out of California. And he pitches in what's a pretty close ballgame. 4-3. Toronto leads, scored in the first 4 innings. Yankees had a 3-run 6th. And it's a close one going down the stretch.
Yeah, when you see Tolhurst come into the game, this reflects the fact that there are a few pitchers that are dinged up in regular big league camp. These guys aren't even in camp yet. And Adam Kloffenstein, who was brought back in, he's dealing with a shoulder issue. We talked about Eric Swanson's got a little bit of forearm, so they're a little bit behind. So you have to dig down into your minor league camp. And there are many minor leaguers already in camp, even though it's not officially open yet. So you have the resources now. Since the new PDC has been developed, minor leaguers are right next door to the big leaguers, and you need some extra bodies. You just knock on the door and say, hey, we need some bodies.
Tolhurst coming off a very solid season, split between high A and double A. ERA just above 3, and struck out 75 guys, only walked 14 in the season, more than 5-1 strikeouts to walks. Gets ahead of Jackson Castillo. It's 1-2.
You can talk about another pitcher that's down early on is Adam Macko, a young left-handed pitcher. He pitched at Vauxhall out in Calgary, and he had knee surgery, so he had his knee cleaned up, and he's not available to the Blue Jays right now.
Stefanik charges in and throws over to first to get the out. For more on Macko, let's go down to Hazelman.
Yeah, the 24-year-old Macko had surgery on Thursday to repair that meniscus tear in his left knee. He experienced some discomfort in that knee following a side session last weekend. John Schneider said his timetable will be a little more clearer, guys, once he returns to the PDC after he gets back and recovers a little bit. Then.
Thank you, Hazel. And kind of interesting there, Stefanik makes the play for Tolhurst. Stefanik told me yesterday when he came over to the Blue Jays, the only guy he really knew in the entire organization was Tolhurst. They work out at the same place in the offseason, so they had a bit of a connection, but other than that, a completely new organization for Stefanik.
Stefanik split time last year between Salt Lake City and the Angels and had a chance to play for Ron Washington. And he said that was a great experience. He said Washington is a font of baseball knowledge and a great instructor. It's as important for an infielder like Stefanik.
High fly ball to right field, backing up Rodin, and we are tied. Home run for Alexander Vargas makes it 4-4 as the Yankees have come all the way back.
Down and in on the inner part of the plate. Vargas turns on us. Just got enough height to sneak over the fence in right field above the Blue Jays bullpen. And here we are in the 8th inning at 4-4.
Jared Wegner up to the plate, takes strike one from Tolhurst. It's all substitutes now for the Yankees, just like the Blue Jays. Now 0-2. Wegner played most of his collegiate career with the Creighton Blue Jays, and then a final season with the mighty Arkansas Razorbacks, where he hit .313 in 2023. Off the handle, there's a hit for Wegner. And runner aboard here for the Yankees with one out in the 8th.
Right fielder number 53, Kobe Morales.
Kobe Morales steps in now, batting for the first time in the game. 18th rounder by the Yankees out of the University of Washington. Selected in 2023. He hits it foul, 0-1. Morales spending most of last season at the single-A level. 23-year-old moved up to Double-A for 15 games. Pardon me, to High-A, not Double-A. Pitch outside, 2-1. This is the first Blue Jays spring training game of the season, but it's the second for the Yankees, who kicked off the Florida schedule yesterday with former Blue Jay Marcus Stroman getting the start in the first game of spring. Yankees beat the Rays 4-0. Runner goes, and the throw down to second from Sanchez. Not in time.
Yeah, Stroman's had an interesting start to his camp, obviously. He is not penciled in the initial rotation for New York. He says, I am a starter, I am not a reliever. And right now the Yankees have a full complement of starters, and he's on the outside looking in. So it's going to be interesting to keep track of that and see how that develops the rest of spring training.
Swing and a miss.
Another thing that started to rekindle is talks between the Cardinals and the Astros regarding Nolan Arenado. You know, the Cardinals tried to trade Arenado, and he turned down a trade to Houston early on. But it seems as though they've rekindled those discussions.
Fly ball to left center, going back, Stuart Baroa. And he'll make the catch. Tag it from second. Wegner advances 90 feet. 2 outs. The Cardinals have been very forthright that they're trying to trade Arenado. He wants to go to a contender. It was a short list before, but maybe starting to feel he can get a little bit looser with that. And the Cardinals want to play Nolan Gorman at third, so they're motivated to move him as well.
Well, you know what changes? Money.
Right.
Money changes a lot of people's attitude, and of course he can be bought out of his no trade clause if they want to renegotiate. So there are ways around it, but he would be a nice fit for that Astros team.
Absolutely.
Losing Bregman and replace him with a 10-time Gold Glover. And yeah, obviously Arenado isn't in the prime of his career, but he certainly has a lot left for me.
And defensively, he's still just about as good as anyone.
He's a terrific player, and I think he'd bring a lot of credibility to that Astros lineup. And they're all about winning. They're moving Altuve to left field from second base, and Mauricio Dubon initially will start at second base.
Velasquez fly ball to center, reeled in, and that'll do it for the top of the 8th. Tie ball game after the solo home run from Alexander Vargas. We go to the bottom of the 8th. It's 4-4.
You ever just look at them and think, yeah, I'm doing all right.
Stay 2 nights, get a $50 Best Western gift card.
At Spectrum, we believe every day unlocks unlimited possibilities. Spectrum transforms your gaming experience into a galaxy of adventures. And with super reliable internet speeds, you're always front row to the entertainment you love. Switch to Spectrum Internet today.
Be part of the #1 movie in the world.
Suit up. What, you mean like right now? Yeah.
Captain America Brave New World must be seen on the biggest screen possible.
You want me? Come and get me!
Captain America Brave New World, rated PG-13.
Goodbye offseason. Hello baseball. Go around the horn to each team's training camps on MLB Tonight's 30 clubs in 15 days.
Let's do it.
MLB Tonight's 30 clubs in 15 days begins Wednesday, only on MLB Network.
Newly released during today's promotions and event, Hello Kitty returns in 2025. On Saturday, April 19th, celebrate your love for Hello Kitty and purchase your specialty ticket to secure your spot at the game and guarantee your very own Blue Jays Hello Kitty backpack. Get yours today at bluejays.com/specialty tickets. Ben Schulman, Buck Martinez, Hazel May here at TD Ballpark. It's 4-4 going to the bottom of the 8th between the Blue Jays and the Yankees, and a new pitcher on the mound for the Bronx Bombers. Colton Brewer is into the game.
Yeah, the veteran pitcher was originally drafted by the Pirates. He's now 32 years old. He has spent parts of 6 seasons in the major leagues, including 3 different seasons with the Boston Red Sox. Missed all of 2022, back with the Yankees in 23 and pitched for the Cubs last year. Made 16 appearances for the Cubbies.
The majority of his career appearances came in 2019 as a Red Sox. Was a big part of their pen that year. He's also got a little experience as he's trying to work out his PitchCom device, pitching in Japan, pitched for the Hanshin Tigers. Trying to work it out right now with Jesus Rodriguez, the substitute catcher. And it looks like everyone's ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a time, of course, when you went to Japan to play, or Korea for that matter, that you'd kind of admitted that your big league career was over, but that's no longer the case. Guys have gone over and come back and enjoyed a lot of success. Go over there and pitch, get a chance to pitch quite a bit, make a little extra money, and then you come back and make another bid to pitch in the big leagues.
I think of Eric Fetty, who went over to Korea, came back, signed a big deal with the White Sox, and then got traded to the Cardinals. Well, there's plenty of examples as Riley Terada takes way outside.
Well, and the Blue Jays had a terrific example. They saw play for the Tigers in Cecil Fielding. He came up originally with the Blue Jays after being traded from the Kansas City Royals. He went to Japan and then came back as a slugger for the Tigers and then ended up playing for the Yankees as well. Another guy that pitched a long time in the big leagues that went to Japan was Colby Lewis, who pitched in Texas and had a good run in Texas after being a first-round pick of the Rangers. Then he went to Japan, enjoyed a lot of success over there, and came back and had a fine finish to his career.
What do you think happens over there that allows guys to unlock something and then come back?
Just the opportunity to play. Right. They go over there and they get a chance to pitch where they might be a 7th, 8th, 9th starter in the big leagues. They go over there and they become a 2 or 3 starter, get a chance to pitch regularly. I think that's what happened to Cecil. He went over there as a very young player and got a chance to play over there. And that really helped him.
Ground ball skips past Velasquez, so Terrada's on first.
So I think when you go to Japan, it's just an opportunity to play, and you get regular at-bats or regular innings as a pitcher, you come back with a lot of confidence.
Error on Velasquez, the third baseman, a leadoff base runner for the Blue Jays, and Ali Sanchez gets to bat again against Colton Brewer. For Brewer, this is his third different stint with the Yankees organization. Was a minor league Rule 5 pick of the Yankees in 2017. Split 2023 between the Yankees and Japan. And then this appearance coming back on a minor league deal with the Yankees pitching here in spring. Terrada takes off. Pitch is called a ball, and the throw down to second might have been there, but it bounced past the glove of Vargas, so it's a stolen base for Terrada.
Yeah, and that's the third stolen base by the Blue Jays here this afternoon, and Ali Terrada is not a guy that you think about stealing a lot of bases, but he got a good jump, and then the short throw from the catcher allowed him to get into scoring position.
Back in the zone with the 2-0 pitch to make it 2-1. Ali Sanchez, part of the competition for the backup catcher spot for the Blue Jays. Guy with major league experience, mostly last year, 31 games with Miami.
Yeah, interview with Andres Jimenez early on. They're good pals. They're both in Venezuela, and they have played together in the minors. They played together in winter ball, and he says, Sanchez is a very good catcher, very smart catcher. Has a lot of experience playing in the minors and in winter ball, and as you mentioned, he got a little bit more experience last year in the big leagues.
It's a chopper and a diving stop by Velasquez. Throw over to first. Beautiful play.
Well, yeah, nice play at third, but a great piece of base running by Terrada as he moved up. He recognized that the third baseman was taken out of position because he has to play the ground ball, and he alertly moved from second to third. Once the third baseman has to play that ball, he dives, and Terrada moves up on the ground ball. That's terrific base running. Those are the types of things the Blue Jays coaches are looking at. Watch his reaction at second. He sees the third baseman dive for it and moves over to third base, and that's a big move right there.
Big swing by Stuart Burroa, and that one gets down on the warning track. Toronto's going to score. Burroa up to second base in a flash. Blue Jays fans know him well. It's an RBI double for the Blue Jay outfielder last season.
Stuart Burroa is an interesting guy. He got a lot of time last year with the Blue Jays in the big leagues. Didn't get a lot of playing time, but he was up there for a while. And he's got a nice set of skills. Jumps on that high pitch and hits it over the right fielder's head, and that's going to cash in the runner from third base.
So 5-4 Blue Jays. They take the lead back as Charles McAdoo swings and misses. Interesting to note, Buck, all 3 Blue Jays stolen bases today have led to that runner coming in to score.
Yeah, that's going to be brought up by the Blue Jays coaches for sure. Look at what we did today. We have 1 home run. That was off the bat of Aurelvis Martinez, but we have scored runs because we played small ball. Took advantage of base running opportunities and cashed them in.
Broken bat, soft grounded to third. Velasquez tosses it over to first. Up to third base goes Burroa. 2 outs. there might not be, a big ticket 50 stolen base guy on the Blue Jays, but if you look at Jimenez, when he gets healthy, Varsho, Springer's been pretty prolific recently, Ernie Clement, maybe there's a potential to have 5 or 6 guys chip in to make this a good base stealing team.
Yeah, and you know what? If they get 15 steals from those guys you mentioned, that's a good number. And they don't have much speed last year. Burrow is a guy that can serve as a pinch runner as he did last year coming off the bench, but you just have to be more athletic, and especially when you're not hitting home runs at the pace you did 2 years ago. You have to create runs different ways.
I don't want to leave out Jonathan Clase either, who maybe could be a big ticket 50 stolen base guy if he had the runway at the major league level. That pitch gets away from the plate, and Burrow is going to use his speed to score. Well, that's high-flying, full-throttle baseball right there. Stuart Burrow racing around the bases, and it's 6-4 Blue Jays.
Yeah, and Baroa was acknowledging, I believe he was acknowledging Carlos Fabulous, the third base coach. Watch how quickly he breaks for home. That ball was headed in the dirt initially, and Fabulous, I'm sure, gave him a reminder, hey, you see something in the dirt, don't hesitate. And he scores standing up.
Now a ball on the ground to first base is going to get picked up and step on first there for Hartman to retire R.J. Schreck. 2 runs for the Blue Jays created by speed, and we go to the 9th with Toronto up 6-4.
Fair.
Told you he'd know the best spot.
Adventure bigger in the all-new Nissan Armada.
The key to a perfect family vacation? Separate rooms.
Put the low right on me.
Life's a trip. Make the most of it at Best Western.
At Spectrum, we believe every day unlocks unlimited possibilities. Spectrum transforms your gaming experience into a galaxy of adventures. And with super reliable internet speeds, you're always front row to the entertainment you love. Switch to Spectrum Internet today.
City Connect Fridays do something special every Friday home game. On Friday, April 18th, viewers 15,000 fans and receive a City Connect box jacket presented by EnterCare. Visit BlueJays.com/promotions to secure your tickets.
That's a pretty good looking giveaway.
You like that one?
For one of those.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. Pretty sharp looking jacket.
The Blue Jays fans are dedicated. You might need to get your tent buck set up on the 17th. Wait for the 18th. Blue Jays up 6-4 right now, top of the 9th. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Buck Martinez. Hazel May down on the field. Second inning of work for Tolhurst, and a swing and a miss for Jesus Rodriguez. It's 1-1. Tolhurst pitch. Down and away, 2-1. Some pretty nice performances so far today for the Blue Jays, especially when you look at the pitchers who began this game. Easton Lucas, Brendan Little, Zach Pop, Mason Fluharty all pitched scoreless frames to begin the game.
And I thought the thing that I was impressed with was how efficient they were. Easton Lucas threw 26 pitches. Brandon Little in his inning of work, just 8 pitches. Zach Pop, a little bit of problem. He threw 20 pitches, but then Fluharty came in, had a good inning of work, and it took just 13 pitches. So I'm sure Pete Walker was pleased with the efficiency of most of the pitchers here this afternoon.
fly ball right field. On the run is Roden, and a nice running catch. 1 down. Speaking of pitchers, Blue Jays have a handful of games in the next couple days, and you're going to see a handful of their starters or feature pitchers for this season.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Ariel Rodriguez will be down at Fort Myers pitching against the Red Sox, and then Jake Bloss, who was acquired in that trade for Kikuchi from the Astros. Bowden Francis Monday at Lakeland, and then on Tuesday we'll be back on the air as the Blue Jays take on the St. Louis Cardinals, and Max Scherzer will pitch that game. Wednesday, another TV game. Philadelphia's here in Dunedin, and that'll be Jose Barrios. So make sure you don't miss those 2 games. You get a chance to see Max Scherzer and Jose Barrios in back-to-back starts, our next 2 broadcasts.
Tomorrow you can see the Blue Jays game on Sportsnet 1 or listen on Sportsnet on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Wave going around here in the latter stages of the game as Arias fouls it back 2-1.
A good turnout here for game 1. As always is the case here in Dunedin. They've done a terrific job of refurbishing this ballpark. Nobody has left the standing room area out in the outfield. They're still packed out there. Of course, a lot of Canadians are down here, and they think this weather is wonderful.
Oh, yeah. It's cold for the Floridians. It's not for the Canadians.
Yeah,
I'll tell
you
you
can
that.
tell all the Canadians, they're the ones that are wearing shorts.
Yeah. Look, as long as you're not stepping knee-deep in snow right now, at least speaking for the Torontonians, that's a big win, weather-wise. 3-2 pitch. Line to center field, and that'll get down in front of Baroa. But you mentioned the updates. It's interesting talking to a guy like Jeff Hoffman, who was here a while ago and now back, and he said it is great to be in this facility. It really seemed like a big deal for him to be in the facility that the Blue Jays have now, both here and the PDC, the Player Development Complex.
I saw him in 2014 throw for the first time on Field 1 back at the old complex at Engelberg. Yeah, we had a chat about that. He's thrilled to be back with the Blue Jays because he grew up in upstate New York in Albany. He said his family and all his close friends have already checked their passports to make sure they're ready to go. Looking forward to coming to Toronto when the Blue Jays are at home. But he's got 4 kids, and he said, you know, my time in Philadelphia was great because my boys are really into baseball, and we were surrounded by some great players there. And the same is the case here with the Blue Jays again.
Being an upstate New York guy, I mean, maybe he was going to Auburn Doubledays games and stuff around there. He could have caught a little bit of what the Blue Jays were offering. Called strike 3, and the Blue Jays 1 out away. Ronaldo Hernandez up to the plate, runner on first. And Anders Tolhurst on the bump. Ground ball up the middle, and that's going to get into center field. And the Yankees keep this one going, now bringing the go-ahead run to the plate.
In case you're thinking about the possibility of a tie game, generally this time of the spring, first or second game, that's the case for the Yankees. This is their second game. They generally don't want to pitch extra innings. They have a number of pitchers that come here and a limited number of innings, so very rarely will you see extra innings in spring training.
Only so many guys can fit on the bus, and you're bringing a lot of your younger guys too. You don't want to put added stress on some of those guys.
Yeah, you bring a lot of guys just in case you have somebody knocked out of the game early, or the unfortunate situation where you might have an injury, so you make sure you got coverage to pitch 9 innings at least, but not often do you see extra inning games.
Tolhurst putting in a shift for the Blue Jays. 36 pitches he's thrown. An inning in 2/3 already recorded for him. Looking for one more out here to secure the Blue Jays' first win of the spring.
Ali Sanchez asked for time as Stowhurst was ready to deliver the pitch, and Sanchez wasn't sure he had the same pitch on his mind.
Called strike there as they got back on the same page, and it's 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike three. Stowhurst gets Castillo, and the Blue Jays defeat the Yankees to open up their spring schedule. A final score of 6-4. A fun one, Buck.
Yeah, and a good opportunity for John Snyder to see some of the regulars. He had Bichette and Jimenez and Guerrero, Alejandro Kirk all in the starting lineup, and they played well. And Jimenez had a run scored. Bo scored a run. Vladdy had an RBI. And overall, the three starting pitchers at the top of the show, Easton Lucas, Brendan Little, Zach Pop, all threw the ball well, as did Mason Fluharty. So it was a good day overall, and the Blue Jays come away winners in Game 1 of their spring training schedule.